What's up, everybody? This is the poker coaching study session. Today, we're going to be looking at
March Multiway Madness using the Prometheus solver. Let's see how it goes. All right. First hand, we'll see if Prometheus can do this one. We have Queen 10 suited raises from from low jack -1. We're gonna have to put him in the low jack because that's what Prometheus does. But that's fine. Ace King in the small blind should 3-bet. He does. He goes way too small. This should be like 12 or 14.
Yeah,
Uh,
probably, yeah.
Right. And the sixes, which have no flats here, and I'm pretty sure should be a fold here. Maybe that's why they call because it's only 8, but still it's bad because they don't know the villain, they don't know that Queen 10 suited is not going to 4-bet them off any equity they have. But they call it, and Queen 10 suited is not going to 4-bet here. It's going to go, okay, 5 big blinds, suited, suited gapper, decently big cards. Let's go.
Question for you guys.
Yeah.
Um, all right. I
Yeah.
think I talked about this last time, but now that we've got a capped range and a small bet from the 3-bet from the small blind, which should be, a lot of players will 3-bet range.
Mm-hmm.
Is this too far down to turn into a 4-bet bluff?
Queen 10 suited.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of it has to do with how do you interpret his small, his baby 3-bet here. Is his baby 3-bet aces?
Yeah, we have to have some
We have to have an opinion about his baby 3-bet. If we don't have,
making this a 4-bet bluff from EP here. You've got to know, it's really important to know something about small blind.
yeah, has he been doing this? Is this his range size? Some people just have an unusual range size. And if this is an unusual 3-bet size. And if he's doing this consistently, like this is how he thinks 3-bets should go, then you can play it like a standard 3-bet. But
Yeah, I
no,
agree. I agree. I think to turn this into a 4-bet bluff, you really need to know what villain 34 is up to. You have to have some history.
right. Plus, I would look at it, I would look at this sort of the exploit, why he's making this mistake. So the two mistakes that he can make with his 3-bet size is he can go massively big. You can open to 3 and he can go to 21. And if he goes to 21, you can have no 4-bet bluffs at all. You could just wait till you have aces or kings and ace king, and just jam on him and then
Yeah,
all the rest because, he's going so big and you just
agreed.
don't need to bluff him. In the same way, if he min does it, well, you can stay in with almost everything that isn't terrible.
Yeah,
Maybe
let's look real quick. What were his pot odds, just out of curiosity, Free?
they
When the
were,
sixes come in?
yeah, they were
In
ridiculous.
the 20s, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
20s.
yeah, I mean
And half
now,
20% equity,
if you
no
just
question.
think about it, so much of your range now,
Yeah,
it can call profitably, especially playing in position.
yeah. I might want to fold the bottom of my offsuit range that I played here, like the bottom ace that I open. So this is going to be in,
I might fold his queen off.
yeah. I don't think I'm folding ace queen off for 5 more. I know I'm dominated sometimes, but I'm going to fold queen jack off if but I won't have it here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 3, 4. So here the bottom of my offsuit range is like ace jack, maybe with a sliver with a little bit of ace 10. So fold the ace 10s and maybe the ace jacks.
Okay.
Um, I'm not gonna have any king jack here. I'm gonna have a sliver of king jack here, so I'll fold that, and then the king queen, which I should fold to any 3-bet. Maybe I won't to this, but you got to be
King
real.
queen is the interesting one to me.
Yeah, yeah,
I
ace
think the
queen.
queen 10 more because it has less domination issues.
Yeah, yeah, and you got to be really careful because you've been sucked in of how much money you're going to lose on one pair here.
I think that what you're saying, what your last point is most important. You have to tread carefully.
Yeah. Um, but again, he's just giving you the odds to flop the nuts, and you know, not only can king queen flop the nuts, king queen can flop the nuts when aces uh are really, really happy.
Yes.
So
Yeah, we like the 3% that more nutted equity the suited version gives us though.
yeah, yeah, much more. Right. Okay. So he goes like this. Um, we call ace 10 chooses to he checks it, so he so plays it, the sixes are done. And queen 10 should play well here and should check behind, even though, you know, if they're gonna try to bluff a guy off kings, maybe not start it now. I think he should check behind. He does, good for him.
I like ace king's play, especially with the ace of clubs.
Yep. Now he has to bet. And as we see, what he did for queen jack, the gift he gave, so he bets very small, 25%. Sixes has to get out of there. Queen 10 needs to call, pair and a gut shot. He needs to lose 6 more big blinds on this.
Agreed.
The problem is that when he gets his straight, it's hard to get paid, but at least he's in position, so at least he can make the bet.
Agreed. He's gotten flat odds here.
Yeah, a 10 is good, a jack he knows is good, and a queen
Wow.
might be good. It's not. But
This
he
is-
decided pair and a draw is all you need.
This is the value. This is one of the hidden values of checking a OP on flop out of position because
Yeah.
it's not done that much by people. People over C bet and 3 bets. And so I kind of think of what's happening here as a fringe benefit of checking
Yeah.
of the flop check from villain 34.
Yep. I don't know if I want to re-raise the ace king here. If
I
I want
don't.
3-bet it. I don't think I do.
Hmm.
My
I would-
clubs is
would-
bad now.
Despite the straight, I would potentially re-raise a set, but I'm not re-raising here.
Yeah. Of course, never folding. He does. And he makes it small. And at
He's
this
pot committed.
thing, 16%. He's got 14%. And he can get the rest of this money with this at this stack depth. I think he should call. I think he should lose this money. I know we said tread carefully, but once he made the mistake of raising, and this guy made the mistake of making it so much smaller, he's got 14% odds. He needs 16%.
Yeah, it's close because he's
And he
got
has a
flat
good
odds to
chance.
the
And on a 10,
flat
he
odds to the
can get more.
queen, to,
Yeah.
to 3 queens at least.
Yeah, his problem is, well, 3 jacks.
Oh, I'm sorry, 3 jacks.
Right. The queens are bad. That's his problem, is the queens are bad. And he just folds it. All right. Now let's see what Prometheus says about this. Let's see what we can do with Prometheus. Our first time with Prometheus. Hello, Prometheus. All right. So we are cash game. We are 100 big blinds deep. We have 3 players. The initial raise came from this, but it doesn't let us do that, or at least not in this setting. So let's do a low jack. Low
Low
jack.
jack open.
Right.
button.
Okay. So we're going to see if maybe this is not how this works. Low
It's not
jack.
gonna allow us to have, it's not
Small.
gonna allow us to have multi-way, I don't think. Because there should be no flats, right?
Yeah. And plus I don't know. Now that we see it, it looks like it's just it looks like it's just a raise and 2 calls, that we don't have the 3-bet option here. Oh, wait, no, pot
Well,
type. Pot type.
Yeah, you
Okay.
do. Yeah, you'll get, depending on your configuration, you can go low jack and small blind will have flats from the
Right.
low jack. But if you play it from the button or the cutoff, small blind will not have flats.
Right. Gotcha. But what we want here is, we want to say that this is not an SRP. We want
Well, hit button now. What is it? You hit button now?
hit button now. Show me. good.
Hit BTN.
Yeah, if you go low jack button, then it will only give you
Right.
the next option. You can only pick one of the blinds.
Right. Got that. But what I'm saying is, it's only letting me do SRPs. I don't have another option.
Well, in theory, there shouldn't be any 3-bet multi-way pots, right?
Right.
Maybe. Okay.
So they just don't exist in
Okay.
solver
That's
land.
it.
Okay. So this one, so we got to look at that one, and we do not see this one looking good in Prometheus. And I don't think we want to do, I mean, we can just for fun to do it once, we can do this. We can do low jack. Sorry, low jack, small blind, big blind, and just play it out with this board. And because he has an ace king here. So let's just to do that, just to practice with Prometheus, then we'll do your hand. All right.
Okay.
10-8 of clubs, ace of diamonds. 10-8 of clubs, ace of diamonds. Okay. And now the low jack, who has ace king a little bit. We see,
Who's afraid? Well, we're on small blind, right?
what?
Small blind's first act.
Oh, sorry, small blind.
And small blind is red, so I assume we're looking at small blind right now.
We are small blind. You are absolutely right.
So I think, what do you hit the big green button that says check to?
That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
And in our case, the small blind is the ace king and he does check it.
Yeah, notice he does have a sliver of ace king off.
Right. Our pocket sixes that this guy has, he checks, that's easy. And the queen 10 suited, well, this is nice. It's not the same situation, but at least we can look at it. Queen 10 suited
Just checking.
likes to mix, and let's see, I think the bet is only with the, oh no. So it bets with the back door a little bit, mostly checks. Our guy,
What sizing does it like here?
it likes, when it bets, it likes 25%,
Okay, so
little bet.
it likes to be 25 here. Okay.
It gives you an option for 66, which
DTO.
isn't, but it isn't using it, so that's nice. He checks. Now we get the king of hearts. King of hearts. And now our small blind, who has the ace king,
Looks like it's doing a custom solve for you here, man.
is. All right.
Thank you
Well-
for getting an account so we all can learn stuff.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Hopefully we'll be able to learn more stuff. All right. Hey, Derek,
Hey, how you going?
it's going good. And during our lovely 30 seconds, Larry, do you have your hand ready?
Sure.
You go next. Good. Okay. And next time I do this, now that I know that it does this, I'll have another hand prepped in another window, just a fun hand.
That's no worries.
No worries.
Doing a real time solve, man. We know we're
Yeah, we
getting the
are.
real deal.
Look at us. I spent so much money this weekend. Oh my God. I had to buy a new computer. And so I went for the just absolute top of the line.
Oh, I
And
just bought
wow.
the new desktop.
Laptop.
Wow.
Oh,
Uh,
you got a Mac?
Yeah, got a MacBook Pro. And what happened is my old MacBook Pro, which is 5 years old, 2019. Yeah, 5 years old. The keyboard started to have a problem. I brought it in. They said, they were going to fix it for free. They said, no, can't fix it for free. It's going to cost $700 to fix because there's corrosion in it. At which point it's like, okay, I'm going to buy a new computer, but I'm going to buy the top. So I spent that.
How much memory does it have? Like 32?
The new one,
Yeah.
it's going to have 64 gig and 2 terabytes.
Wow.
It's going to be a beast. And that, and then I have to buy some new software to go with it. And then with this, so we spent a bunch of money this weekend. Hopefully poker will be good to us. All right. So the king comes, and now the ace king can continue to slow play, but when he bets, which is what we're going to do, he likes to bet big.
I wonder why it likes to block flush continues when it bets.
Look at that.
I can't explain that.
Let's see. So it really wants to have a club to bet. And remember, if it has a club, it almost always bets. Your block,
What would be the reason that it wants to block calls? This must be some kind of more defensive multi-way play. That's the only conclusion I can come.
right? So you sort of, if he's got a flush draw, you let him get there before you put a lot of money in.
So
That's-
we don't want, so what this is saying is that we don't want to invest in this pot when someone is top of range calling. Right? Because we don't want them to have king
We,
club X club. So when we're blocking their most likely calling range, we want to bet. Right? That's what I read.
yeah.
But I don't know why.
Um,
Except that it's a more defensive way to play. That's the only thing I can think of.
Well, when we have a club, we are also, let me look at the value in top two, right? So obviously it's a value bet. And
Yeah.
then we have the club,
then when they call, they're calling with value too, and our value destroys their value.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I agree.
But when
I
we
guess-
unblock a flush draw, and a flush draw is gonna call us, don't we want to get value from it now?
That's the argument I'm making. Is so
Yeah.
this
I
strikes me
see
as
my
very,
point.
very defensive because
Yeah.
we're not trying to extract money from, we're on turn here. We're not trying to extract money
Oh.
from hands that are going to outriver us 18% of the time, and that seems unusual.
Right, and that's maybe because we're check raising them.
That is a very good point.
We'll
Let's check that line.
We're gonna look at that line also. All right, let's look
Well-
at those two lines. Let's look at the line taken, and then we'll go back and look at that one and see if that's what it is. The bet
That is a
size
very good
likes
point.
is small. With the ace of clubs, we have a little bit of the 75, but mostly the 33. He goes 25, which is the same thing, you know, for our analysis. So he bets the 33 here. The sixes, of course, fold. That's easy. And now our queen 10 suited.
We're on low jack, and we are, well, he found a play, didn't he?
Queen 10 suited, get out of there. Now, our situation, was our situation different? Well, he did the raise. Okay, so he's allowed to raise this. He does. Let's take the raise size that's done all the time.
So I think
raise-
you click on the combo again to get it back to,
Yep, that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
There we go, click on that. So we're gonna do the raise that's done. There we go. And now back on here, our ace, king.
simply calling.
He just calls and he folds some. Okay, wait a minute. No, that's overall frequency.
Yeah, click it, yeah.
No, look, yeah. Oh, the blue. Okay, blues are calling, not folding. I
Can
gotta-
you, put it on frequency?
Yes,
Thank you.
there we go. Okay, so we just call,
We're calling with every combo, right? Yeah.
and he pushed it, and we didn't like that.
And he re-clicked, yeah.
He re-clicked, which you can do for this one. So let's do the re-click and let's see how big the re-click is. 46%. So let's get that. So he does the raise to 22, which is much bigger than what this guy was facing before. And now his queen 10 mostly fold, which is fine, but it was a smaller size. Now let's take a look at the question you had, which is what about when we check and get bet at?
Yeah.
So let's do,
So I don't know, how would you go backwards? You probably click, I think you probably click on that
Back
line
here?
where you are.
we go right to here, to this node.
There's a go back button too, right above the check button, lower right.
Lower right, right above the check button.
Oh, I
lower-
see it.
You do, but that, you guys are blocking that. No, you're not.
It's,
Oh, there it is. Go back. Blink. There we go. All right, king of hearts. And we're gonna do the check version of our ace king. And now this guy is not gonna bet his sixes. So we're gonna do the check.
Interesting to pay attention to what this middle sandwich person does when we look
Yes,
at all
yeah,
of
that's-
these, all of
that's a
these
good point.
strategies, because it's oftentimes we're very lost on what to do, right?
absolutely, except with nutted equity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go back to that guy. Let's go back to that node. He does a lot of checking in the sandwich. When he has queen jack, which he does, he
Look
does,
how much he's checking eights and tens.
he does a lot of checking to let this guy go. The hand that bets the most is his best ace, ace queen. Which also has a draw, but the draw isn't important because ace jack doesn't do it. So,
And he's not betting the 8s and 10s.
not baiting the eights and tens, he's letting other people do it from where he is. And the straight came in. All right, so he checks, and now let's assume that we do get a bet from the guy who stabs the most. And his most common size is the 34. So we get that, and now we're back on the ace kings.
Yeah,
That's-
all those that checked are raising.
They did it to check raise. there's a little bit of calling on this guy, you know. But yeah, it's just, those are the ones that are most fun to check raise. So there's your answer.
I got pulled away. Sorry.
The
We are
answer is-
check raising.
Yeah, we check raised him.
Got it. So,
You know,
yeah, so
here's the
you
little
figured
bit-
that out
here's-
quite quickly. Excellent.
Here's the guy who doesn't. The heart club, the complete, you know, that guy doesn't do it as much, but even he does it half the time. So yeah, you're doing it that's where you take your check raises from.
Got it.
All right.
And
Larry,
deselect, let's see his range. What's he check raising with? So we know ace king is
The whole-
obviously top
okay.
of range here.
good. Let's see what else we have check raises with. Do we have do we have an ISO button where we can click it and only see those? No, we do not. So we'll just look. Who does it a lot? The nuts do it a lot. Queen Jack. Now our sets get in there, but not a ton. The eights are playing. I think the eights are playing defensively at this point. I don't
Yeah.
think I don't think
I
the
agree.
the eights think that they have the best hand, but they are not confident of it. I don't think the eights are slow playing it. The tens a little more because at least they beat the eights. We never have kings or aces in this situation.
King 10, another two pair.
Pairs like it. We have a 10-8. Our 10-8 two pair does it. And our bluff. Gentlemen, I give you king 6.
And pocket queens.
King 6 of clubs. Pair plus draw.
Yeah. Classic old
Pocket
school. pair plus
queens
stuff.
without a club. No, that's not true. Pocket queens want a spade to do it. The magical card is a spade. And I don't want to know why.
Blocking ace, queen, king, queen, jack.
Suited? Is that but I mean, why the spade?
I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I'm said I don't want to learn the spade yet, but it's
Yeah.
clear. And because yeah. We're sorry to see you go. What are you talking about? I didn't leave. All right. Now, let's see. I think we do get, and we made it all the way to the river on this board. No, let's go to the river and make sure it gives us a river. So let's just, to run it out, we have our call. And yes, it's giving us a river option. And the river solve is
This is a much shorter solve.
yeah, yeah. So it is solving in real time for this. We got two calls along here, which was never going to happen. But that was what I wanted to know is, do you get a river?
So,
So what are you allowed to bet? After you bet call and you
Nothing.
get two calls, you're allowed to bet two pair, and two pair.
are you trapping top of range? So nuts is queen jack, right?
Nuts is queen jack.
What are you doing queen jack?
Yeah, you got some nuts. So
Okay.
you bet. So you check. Now middle guy. 9 jack is a straight and he doesn't bet it.
Wrap no good. Wrap no good.
9 jack, he doesn't bet. All right, so he checks. Oy. Betting the nuts, of course, betting the 9 jack. He bets his two pairs when he's got them. Let's bet a two pair here. And the size most commonly bet is all along here. So he'll do the 150.
So is his best top pair ace queen blocking the nuts? Is that his best? That's our best pair we get here with, right? We have that sometimes.
Yeah, and
And
it's
is that good enough to bet?
no, not anymore.
Okay.
Not with this card coming in.
King 10 is checking.
Yeah, king 10 is two pair.
And two pairs checking. Yeah, good point.
We have straights and sets.
So our
Yeah.
value threshold is top two.
Ace 10 looks like it's getting in there.
It's top pair, ace 10 does it, ace 7 does it, ace 8. It doesn't have to be top two. Two pair
Okay,
with an ace does it,
got it,
all the way down to ace 7,
got it, okay.
but not king 10. And therefore, we're gonna assume not, but it is unstrangely, king 8 goes for it. King 10 doesn't. Maybe there's a suit reason. No, king 10 and king 8. Yeah.
I think, I think I like that. I think my value threshold in game would probably be ace king.
Yeah.
But it's going a little bit lower down in equity than that.
Yeah, it's happy with two pair, and then it has this weird thing with the king 10, king 8.
Yeah.
All right. And then when we do this bet of 150, and it comes back on this guy, 8s were not trapping. They are calling. 10s were not trapping. The only traps were the nuts, queen jack, and a crazy bit of jack jack that blocks queen jack, and that's an insane amount of it. All right, Larry, you got somebody.
Yeah, I got a multi-way hand.
Yeah.
Hey Derek, you're on, right?
Hmm?
Yeah, Derek, I'm very curious how you play this hand because I think you play this very differently, in retrospect.
Okay.
Just
All right.
be brutally honest with me here, guys, because I don't think I played this like I should have, frankly, and I'm curious what you have to say. So, I just lost a big stack, a big pot, so I'm a little tilted, but then I get aces. I had not reloaded,
Mhm.
Did you
and
top up right away?
I did not top up right away.
Oh, there's an error. That's a blunder.
Yeah, I agree. I was a little shell shocked. I just lost a 200 big
Well,
blind pot.
if you're not going to top up right away, top up when you're the button.
Yeah, I think that's the right way to do it. That's a very good
That's
point,
the other
Derek.
strategy.
Oh, you mean don't top off? You mean don't top off in the blinds? Is that what you're saying, Derek? Or don't top off in the field?
Okay, assuming you're a losing player in the blinds, don't top up in the blinds. Top up in
Okay.
the button.
I like that.
In theory, everyone's a losing player in the blinds.
Yeah.
So don't top up in the blinds, so you're forgiven.
I got a question. Is this online or live?
So this is a live hand I played Friday.
Unless
But-
I also think on a side note, if you feel that you were maybe not fully clear-minded, slightly tilted, that it might be worth not topping up straight away because then there's a chance of you losing less.
Yeah, I
so then
agree
the
with you.
cutoff-
That's probably part of it. My pair plus my combo draw did not get there all in on flop, so I was
Right.
2 run out, so I was a little tilted. Just lost $200. So I was not in a good head state at this point, frankly. I needed to, my adrenaline was pushing.
Yeah.
And I don't, you guys may be better than this. I needed some time to adjust to it.
Mhm.
I'm a sensitive
Say
little
one thing
flower.
before we go-
Yeah,
say
no,
one thing
I
quick before
understand
we go on
that.
with the hand.
Say it again, guys.
I was just gonna say one thing before you go on with the hand. This is about reloading live, which is just a reminder to people is if you are gonna reload live, because it takes a certain amount of time, you have to get the chip runner and over, you are allowed to just say, before anything else happens, you just say the amount of money you want to play to the table. I'm gonna add another 1,000. I'm gonna add another 100, whatever it is, and that counts, and you get to play it. You don't
Yeah,
need,
good point.
you don't
Are
need
you supposed to
find
put the
it.
cash on the table at that point?
If you can, but you don't even have to have it on the table. If you just announce it,
Then you have it.
then you have it, and then you have all the time in the world. So
There's a
don't.
little bit of a trust factor there.
Yeah, people could could abuse it.
Yeah, well, but that's a good point. I appreciate you telling me that.
Okay, good.
All right,
So,
gents. So first player, new player. I didn't know much about him, but he loved to limp.
Right.
However, this hand, he chose not to limp. He opened a 5. We have aces. Our default is 3,
Mhm.
which I'm fine with, except we get this, and now I'm not so fine with it. And so one adjustment I'm making now, even going forward in this game, when I'm getting 2 flatters behind, is I'm going to go to a bigger 3-bet size.
Okay.
Now I'm curious, Derek, I'm really open to your ideas about multi-way pots being more profitable with our top of range. And I'm curious if you were getting this behind in your game constantly after you were 3-betting, would you adjust your 3-bet range? Or are you happy with these flatters behind?
Well, remember I said that I opened to 17 when I
Ah,
play one
so
too?
yeah, good point. So you have a very large RFI size.
So let's say that's because that's when I play in a high rate game.
Yeah.
And if it's no flop, no drop, then going higher is good, right?
Yeah. By the way, this game is no rake. There's no rake in this game.
Oh, tell me more about the game. It's no rake?
This is this is a game in the back of a bar.
Oh,
And it's run by the owner
okay.
because he's friends with the dealer who lost his job as a dealer, and they've been friends for 30 years. So he's taking care of him a little bit and set up a game in the back of his bar where the only expense is tipping the dealer.
Okay. I'd make it a lot more then. Like if they're gonna call 30, then make it 30. If they're gonna call 70, then make it 70. Like make it what they'll call. But
Yeah, so
50
you're
is
right.
crazy.
So I definitely would adjust this in the background. So I'm thinking next time my 3-bet range now goes to 25 or maybe goes to
Yeah.
20. But this is the first time in, and so anyway,
And then Larry,
yeah,
one
go ahead.
on this particular hand, why? So before you know how the other people play, you can afford to make this one bigger because you know this guy to your right splits his range.
That's a good point as well, because he's clearly he's splitting range here, and he's not balanced, and all of a sudden he's not limping.
Right.
Can you
And
describe
exactly. So
splitting
he's at the
range?
higher end, so he'll call more than, so he's more likely to call.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's a
Okay.
very good point.
What do you mean by splits his range?
Larry, you answer. It's your hand.
Yeah, sure. So splitting range is a concept where recreationals are changing their RFI size depending on the value of their hand. So
Oh.
an obvious split range is someone who limps 70% of their range. Then the top 30%, like ace, king, queens, kings, etc., they're actually going to raise as opposed to limp, and that would be splitting range.
Oh, okay.
And if you had somebody who limps, bets 2.5 and opens 5x, has those three things, that 5x tells you a lot. He's not raising 5x to fold.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So
So
you
I
can-
think
yeah.
now if I had known that we had so many passive high VPIPs behind, I would have gone bigger because I don't want to take aces multi-way.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to hear Derek's arguments as to why I do, but I just don't want to. So anyway, so we get here and now we're 4 ways with aces
Okay.
in the middle of the sandwich. So we have a $62 pot.
Yeah.
And we get this pretty innocuous flop.
Mhm.
Now it gets interesting. So 62 in and check from small blind and
Well, remember what I always do, right? I take what's in the pot and subtract it from the lowest stack and then divide by 3 all the time. That's the first thing you do.
okay, I can see
So that number sticks in your head about if you bet that amount or more, then you can get it all in.
Right.
I
in
see
this
your point. Yeah.
In this case, 186 minus 77, which is 111. I take that 111, I divide by 3, 33. So I've got to make sure that $33 goes in the pot on the flop if I want to be all in by the river.
No, by the next bet.
If I want to be all in on the next bet?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Work out like that's my shortcuts to the math.
I
Okay,
think that makes sense. The
That's
one,
because I'm thinking about stacks, right?
Right.
yeah.
I want to quadruple up my stack.
All right.
Yeah, I know you like to have you like the big stack, and I hear you.
Yeah.
So I like that. I think aces multi-way is a very good 2-street hand.
Yeah.
I think making a 2-street game with aces and kings is really good here.
Yeah, especially on this board.
So here we get this donk for 25%, Two people behind. This to me is the most interesting decision point in the hand. What are you guys doing here?
Well, if this were a thinking player, which I'm assuming it's not,
It's not,
then
no.
the 15 means absolutely nothing, right? It's
Well,
close to it's close to
I
it's
think what it
not a
means is that,
small
I mean,
amount.
there's a couple ways to look at it, right? It could mean
Right.
absolutely nothing. It could just, but I think really what it says is I'm trying to set the price to see I'm trying to set the price to see the turn.
I want to play a small pot. Please, just lay a small pot.
The argument I think he's making is I want to set the price because I want to see a turn for cheap. And so I'm going to attempt to set the price for what goes in on the flop.
Right.
No.
But so I do think, I mean, dismissing it and saying it means nothing. I think there's something we can learn from it, right? I think there are sizing tells here, and there are certain hand classes that he has that are more likely to make this play. You know, it's not definite like anything in poker, but I think there is something to glean from it.
Yeah.
So what are you guys doing here?
Raising and folding to a re-raise from either of the other players.
And what size are you gonna use? Pot 77.
I'm going to any number between 50 and 75.
Okay. So
And-
but any number between 50 and 75 with 135 behind.
I'm just checking, is the pot size 77 including the 15 donk? I didn't
It
actually-
is, yes.
It is, yeah.
There's, and then we get
Ah,
this.
okay. Yeah, cool.
So at what is our, so if we go to 50, well, let's take you in the middle there, Scotty. If we go to 60,
Mhm.
that's gonna get our pot before anybody calls. It's gonna go about to 130, right?
Mhm.
We're gonna have 70 behind.
Yeah.
Let's say we get folds behind and the limper range splitter then shoves.
He's the one guy who I would consider calling. If the other guys jam over the top, I fold. Which is,
Yeah,
I'm wrong about my size. My size is too big.
yeah, I think, yeah, your size
Size
is
is
pot
big.
committing.
Yeah, my size is too big. So I guess I'll go to what number does he not want to pay? I'll go to 40, 45. That's what
I think that's a sweet spot. I think one way to look at this is just think for it, 3x.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
45, I made a mistake in this, at this
Yeah.
point.
I was
But-
going to say 45 is a minimum. I was thinking around 50, which is not much in it. But yeah, 45.
Yeah, I
is a
think
minimum.
45 to 45 yeah, 45 I think is good.
Yeah. If you make
3x this, 45.
90 back.
Cause I could, but you know, and let's talk about what we want to do here. So this is so complex because we've got, I mean, I find the spot incredibly complex. We've got two ranges behind,
Mhm.
on a wettish board, which arguably, has many draws available, right? And I don't know what my strategy is here at all. I don't know. Do I want to deny equity? Do I want to keep in draws? I don't know what I'm up to multi-way here. And so,
I think we do not want to keep in the amount of equity that the flat gives. It's not just letting a flush draw for cheap. It's giving the straight draw and the gut shot that might be here and the weird pair plus draw that might be here any sort of decent odds to continue. Because
we want to deny equity.
pair plus odd, pair plus draw, how far are you ahead of pair plus draw plus pair plus draw plus
Yes.
flush draw?
Yeah, if we work this out multi-way, all of a sudden we're getting to probably getting to the 40s.
I mean, you have more than the other people do.
Yeah, but we don't have over half multi-way. Again, these ranges could anywhere. These guys just want to see flops for 15 bucks.
Yeah.
So, I think that you guys have the right I think you guys came to the right conclusion, which I didn't. I think around 50, 45, 50 is good because you really can't know what you want to do here. And this is, Derek, this is why I need some more education as to why it's good to take hands multi-way, because I can't very well range 3 people.
Mhm.
So I think what we do, and you guys tell me if I'm totally off base. I think what we do in this situation is that instead of leaning more towards giving a indifferent price to draws, which is essentially what solver does a lot, is that we now lean towards equity denial with our overpairs. Because that's essentially I'm leaning more conservative.
Completely different if the ace of spades. Go.
Completely different. We have the ace of spades, you said?
Different when you have the ace of spades, but Derek was about to say something.
Agreed. Yeah, go ahead, Derek. Sorry.
Like I think what is their flat calling range when they call a 3-bet?
Well, I
don't-
know the new lags calling range because he told me his combo, and I don't think he was lying.
Yeah.
And I don't know small blind's combo. Small blind is just she plays a lot. She's got a very wide range. She'll like call king 4 off EP versus an EP open.
Okay. So
So
I don't
she's
think,
got tons of hands.
yeah, but I don't think they have many. I don't think they have many 2 pairs and straight draws.
Um, yeah, maybe. I mean, there's
Like
stuff.
looking at the board, it doesn't seem that there's many 2 pairs and straight draws that.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Maybe ace.
I agree with you
4.
on I agree with you on the 2 pairs. I think 6, 7 is out there. I think spades are out there. And I think
Yeah.
pocket 3s, pocket 5s, and pocket 8s are all out there. But I do not think 5-8 or 3-5 is out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so therefore, I don't think 4-6 is out there very often, if I don't think 3-5 is out there.
Yeah. So let's get back to Prometheus here. I'll finish this up. So, I chose what I think is an incorrect option. I chose the nuclear option.
Okay.
So I just shoved it.
You just went, fine, I'm done with this.
And I said, okay, I'll take my $70
I do
and
not want value.
and this is a mistake. So I don't know what the limper had, but this guy did have 7-9. 9-7 of clubs is what he had.
Right.
And so, I chased him out because which, in theory is a mistake because he's not in theory, exploitatively, it's a mistake because
Mhm.
he's going to chase his gutter to a reasonable price, maybe even $40.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he's here to party. So I think the right choice is what you guys said. I think $50 is good here.
Okay, so let's take a look at this one. We can't do it exactly this way, but let's do what we can. This
Sure.
is going to be. This is going
Uh,
to be the
do you want me to stop share?
hijack cut off. And yeah, and we're not going to be able to do it because we don't have. It's going to be meaningless.
Yeah, it's another 3-bet pot
another
that goes multi-way.
So we're going to check on. So what we will do is we will check on the world of 3-bet pots. I'll send him a note and say, hey, are 3-bet pots available? Did I read that wrong? Okay. Let's do the next one of these. And then we're just doing, and Mike, if you want to get up a multi-way, any multi-way hand that fits this characteristic, just open it up and we'll just Prometheus it for the day. All right. Here we go. We have got, this should go, oh, I'm sorry. I did the last one. I did that one. Mike, this is yours.
Oh, okay. All right, 9s should raise. 6s they got a broken stack, and so does the small blind. But 9 should raise, and I guess in theory, 6s probably should just get out of the way. They won't though. 9 should just raise and take it. But we're gonna see 9s raise. We're gonna see 6s call, and I mean, yeah, well, I don't know how else we go multi-way. So let's see. I guess big blind defends is king 4 off. Hello?
I'm here. Scott, are you still there?
think I heard Scotty starting to get a little bandwidth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's
He just
disconnected.
died. Yeah, his internet was going. So, do you guys want to hear a story? Um, hmm. I have another. While we're waiting for, I think Scotty had some internet issues because his audio is beginning to go.
So Larry, I've actually just looked at a hand that was very similar to yours. A lot lower stakes online. It's only what is it, 25 NL, but
Scotty,
literally,
Yeah,
Graham.
go ahead.
sorry.
Hooray, I'm back. All right, let's fix this. Boom.
Richie,
All right.
Scotty, do you mind if Richie finishes his hand history real quick?
Oh yeah,
I
Richie was doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had a quick hand history for us.
I was just going to say it was a very similar situation to you, and I think I made a mistake as well. And I ended up folding it on the river, but I probably should have actually raised on the flop, and it was 4-way again. I don't know if you want me to share it quickly, and you
Share.
can see how you would have all reacted. But again, it's on line one, it's a lower stakes, only 25 NL.
Yeah, go ahead,
I'll
man.
share it with you if you want.
Yeah.
Can you see that fine?
Yep, we see it.
Oh, sorry, I started. Let me go back to the beginning. There we go. Yeah, so I don't have a huge amount of information on all the players, but obviously I just opened 2.5. And then someone limping behind.
Mhm.
And then there, it goes 4-way to the end. So
Oh, God,
again,
yeah.
maybe I should have opened bigger here. Didn't have much info on the players, but I've been trying a strategy of open 2.5 early position and then open 3 on cutoff and button.
Great.
And kind of doing my range that way. And I've been quite liking it so far. It's early days, but I'm quite liking it.
Yep.
So yeah, this board came out. Obviously, I wasn't too concerned about it, but it could hit their ranges better than me.
Mhm.
But I checked it because obviously of my position. Then they go for their bet, which wasn't too concerning. And here, when it came back to me, I thought, for my head, I thought I should raise this. But then I was actually like, I don't want to scare them off because I feel like I'm already quite far ahead. They're clearly quite a weak player because they've limped in behind me. Let's just keep them in, right? And I don't know if that was the correct mindset or not.
So
So I
this
just-
is
Go
so
on.
where's Button? So Button is villain 1, right? I'm sorry, Button is villain
Villain
5.
5, yeah, it's just behind the
This guy just
strategy, so-
overcalled your RFI. Now he's small betting, right?
Yes, yeah.
And because I would, so SPR is important to you, right?
Yeah.
You have a pretty intense SPR here. It's like 7 or something.
We're both slightly over, obviously, the standard
Yeah.
100. Yeah. So yeah, I was, so because it was multi-way, I was also, aces aren't necessarily the best multi-way. So I thought they could have the 4-5, the 2 pair, or it could be, they could even have trips here. So I was a little bit concerned about that. So straight away when it goes multi-way, I downgraded my hand, right? I was like,
Mhm.
the chances of me having the absolute strongest hand here are a lot lower, especially with this player betting into another, well, 3 players, right? And I'm the original raiser. So I thought there is, even though I feel like I'm probably ahead, there is also a chance I'm behind him. So at this point, I want to try and get more money in, but I'm not necessarily thinking stacks. I'm thinking, if I take away half of their stack, I'm pretty happy with that, because if they're willing to get in all their stack, because I don't have much information on this player, maybe they have me beat, right?
Yeah, you want to get in more money unless they want to also.
Yeah, exactly.
Is
So
one
that's
is one thing in your thought process that I wanna argue against, and everything else I agree with, which
Okay.
is when you said that he was betting into 3 ranges, he doesn't think he's betting into 3 ranges. He thinks he's betting into 1 range, if he's thinking about that at all.
Oh,
Because
you mean just the person behind him because we've checked.
we've checked, yeah. Now,
Okay.
does villain 1 check range here? Yeah, in a solver he
Yeah.
does. Do
Yeah.
you check range here? Not always. Some people would, multi-way, maybe, Joey might here.
Yeah. So if I was in his position, and I know
Mm-hmm.
the difference would be it'd be small blind and big blind in front of me rather than just the big blind, I would have probably continued with my aces here because there's only one person behind, and I want to try and get some form of
Right.
chips in it. But in this
Right.
position with 2 behind, I thought it's best to check.
Yeah. Right. But that level, so for most of your opponents for this, if they're thinking at all about how many players they're against and making their hands the way you were describing, they aren't going to the extreme thing of saying, I have to beat 3 ranges. They have to beat 1. So
Okay.
ace 10, 10 jack are all bet. Ace 10 and 10 jack bet here. Pocket jacks bets here. If it didn't range. Pocket 9s, 8s, 7s, and 6s sometimes bet here.
Yeah.
Not to mention draws.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Right.
So I had ranged them obviously either a draw, a pair, be it 10s or something in between the 10s. So 6s to 9s, etc. Maybe 5, 6, and likely 4, 5, but not impossible. So I either thought they had a 10 of some sorts, or the other ranges I just said was my early ones, and then it folds round. And then this is where I was considering, do I raise and just try and target the higher range, or do I want to try and keep them in because this board isn't that scary for me at the minute? And I went for the slightly slower pay.
I got a couple comments for you.
Yeah.
First, I mean, I've discussed this on this call before, but Jonathan Chaffee talks about this, and I like your check because you're allowing other people to tell you what their hand strength is.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if this villain 2, small bet, villain 5 raised to 15, villain 6 flatted, then you probably can fold aces here.
Okay.
And if you just bet into them, you're in a different situation. I really like your check. And also, a lot of times in solver, what we see is that aces need the least protection, right? You don't have to worry about overcards here.
Yeah, exactly.
So for the 2 reasons that you're now allowing people to tell you a little bit about their hand strength, which they're probably gonna be unbalanced when they're doing that. They're gonna be playing face up, especially multi-way. You got a plus because you're checking. Your hand needs no protection for overcards. So 2, another plus for checking. I liked your check. Now, that gets us to this point, and this guy, and I think that you are correct to be reticent. I think Scotty's right. This guy may be totally fucking oblivious to the fact that he's bet into 3 ranges that could have him dominated with his queen 10. But I think your reticence to check raise here is fine, especially when also, again, on a rainbow board on what is a dryish texture, static texture, your flat is fine. I think you can check raise sometimes too, but I think your flat is fine.
Okay, excellent. I have got notes on this, but I'll go over them at the end because I can't even remember what I wrote on the notes on this. But yeah, so I just call. And
Can
then
I just real quick,
Oh,
what happened
go on.
pre-flop? I came in on the flop. What happened?
Yeah, no problem. So pre-flop, literally, this is what happened. I raised first in for 2.5 big blinds. Someone literally called directly behind me. The button also limped in as well, and then the big blind also just made
so we
a
were
flat call.
4 away on the flop,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then
Came to the flop. So big blind checks, I check. Then villain 2, obviously.
Gotcha. Okay, that's where I
That's up.
wanted to see. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Then it folds around to me, and that's where I was umming and ahhing. Do I 3-bet or do I just call? And I decided to call to try and keep their weaker range in and potentially just let them keep betting into me. And then unfortunately, this card came, which is something that's in their range. And I was
Very much range.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
a shitty card.
Not the happiest to see it, but of not giving up on most sizes they put in here. So I check. They bet what I thought was a little bit of an abnormal size, more weaker than probably strength, my thoughts. But I'm obviously, again, not comfortable 3-betting this. So I just thought, again, continue. I'm not giving up on this. It's even if they went slightly big, I would have probably called it, kept on calling.
Yeah, I think I just call and sigh.
Yeah, so I called this one. And then obviously now a backdoor straight option comes in as well. I just check it. And I was going to call most sizes here, but this one just felt... I think what happened here is they snap bet as well, and I was unsure. And again, I didn't have much information on this player. There was no huge red flags on them, apart from obviously this initial limp behind me was their first red flag, right? It's only 24 hands, but their stats weren't like already alarming to me compared to this one on the button who hasn't raised any and limped a lot, right? So I was
Well,
unsure
let's
on
classify
here.
your hand, Richie.
Yeah.
Do you
So
feel
I
you
thought
have
this
a
was a
value
bluff
beater,
catcher.
or do you
No,
feel you
this is
have
a
a pure
bluff
bluff
catcher for
catcher?
me. Pure bluff catcher. They've either got the trips, they've got a straight, or they've got a a pair, right, that they're bluffing with. But the value they're going for are the trips of the straight. Their bluffers are probably the pairs in between the 6 and the tens, somewhere 7, 8, 9. You could even argue maybe it's a 6, right? They could even have 5, 6 here actually, which I also put them on before. So, but it's kind of obsolete because the tens make the 2 pair. But yeah, so they either have a pair as their bluffs, nothing that's just missed in the middle. But I can't imagine they were doing 3 streets, especially at starting multi-way. So it's either a pair they're bluffing with, or they're going for value with trips or a straight.
Because you have a lot of tens you play this way too, right?
I agree. I agree.
So yeah, so
I
they're
didn't
either
actually think about that too much, but yeah, I agree. I would play tens this way. So yeah, which then
maybe you
makes it
check raise it. Maybe you check raise turn.
Might check.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
I thought this was a bluff catcher, right? And because I put my hand down as a bluff catcher, I was like, this feels more of an under bluffed line, especially against a player who's maybe made a weak decision already, i.e., just limped in the pre-flop behind me and then bet into multiple people. So I decided, based on it becoming a bluff catcher and being more under bluffed, that it's more profitable for me to fold. So I folded it, but I was just curious, would you fold it and would you have played it differently?
well, I think about my pot odds, right? So essentially, what I see is I have to win more than 1 out of 3 times
Okay.
for this to be profitable. So I don't have
Yeah.
to win half the time. I have to win more than 1 out of 3 times, right? Pot
Oh,
odds are being
okay.
offered 28%. We'll call it, 30%.
Yeah.
I like unblocking. I am not unblocking. I think I like unblocking
The
ace
hearts.
X hearts.
Yeah. Agreed.
That's good. The price I'm being offered is attractive. I'm really indifferent here, but I think my pot odds are good enough for me to call. And the other thing is that a lot of people shy away from a triple barrel, and also he bet into 3 people on flop. I can get up behind your fold, but I think I probably called.
So if this was purely heads up all the way, right? I would pretty much obviously always called this and probably already raised them by now, but it's just because it's multi-way. Obviously, my hand becomes a lot weaker. Their variants of random hands become a lot wider, right? And obviously tens are in their range, etc., and the potential straights as well. So I just feel like, yes, they could be bluffing, but it's likely under bluffed more than it is bluffed, and therefore,
Well,
in my head, it
if you
felt
come to the
more
conclusion that
profitable.
it's under bluffed, once we come to the conclusion it's under bluffed, generally I think theory is that we fold all bluff catchers if it's under bluffed.
Think
Yeah.
he's bluff into 3 people.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often.
I know, that's the thing, right?
So
That's the
I
thing.
don't think he's bluffing into 3 people.
Yep.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So your hand.
The worst card in the deck comes on the turn.
Yeah.
So that at that point he doesn't slow down. So
The only thing
I
about the
totally
turn
agree
is the
with your fold
sizing,
here.
right?
Mm-hmm.
The sizing was really odd on the turn, where I thought if they had a 10, maybe they would have gone bigger, but maybe they sized down because they were concerned I wasn't going to call them. I don't know. But their turn sizing, I thought,
Their turn sizing does well,
yeah, it was
bottom
bad.
line, it does give you really good odds to call.
Yeah.
But I think your hand is a pure bluff catcher to a triple barrel.
So what, are you mixing or are you more leaning one way? Is it pretty split for you? For you
No, I
lot?
agree with your fold.
Do you
have
agree
one
with the
pair.
fold?
You have 2.
Okay.
Well, you have a pair, but I'd dump it now.
So didn't get play a huge amount more hands with them after, but obviously it did start to widen a bit their range, and I did, as played on, it's not crazy fish, right? But as it played on and how I saw them play in other pots, I did start to question that it would have probably been a call if I knew more about them, because there were just some really random stuff they were doing where they were overvaluing certain hands, and I think they made a
That's the
bluff.
thing, right? And that's
Yeah.
the thing. That's my thought there, which is when you describe this as a bluff catcher, I don't.
Okay.
I think that this is a bluff and badly played and misunderstood value catcher. So the real value range
Good
you
point.
have, but what he perceives as value.
So what
Again,
are you putting their range as then? And if you
pocket
think,
nines, pocket nines and pocket jacks.
Yeah,
Okay.
jacks maybe.
yeah,
Pocket
jacks
nines.
did cross my mind after.
Yeah.
Obviously nines, I thought realistically this person would have raised their jacks pre-flop, but based on watching them more, then jacks fell in within their range, and which would have led to also me calling potentially. But yeah, at this point, with the little information I had, they hadn't done anything too wild. I put down under bluffed and more likely
Yeah.
made more sense to fold.
Are you,
One of-
Scotty, are you calling pure here?
No, I'm not calling pure here, but I'm not folding as fast as you guys because, and I don't know that it's right, but in game, I'm looking at two things that were different than what you guys said. That I beat bluffs and I beat overvalued value that he misunderstands, and the size of his bet on the river is a commonly bluffed size.
That's important. So this is essentially a B75,
Yeah.
B60.
Like a B66, yeah.
Yeah.
60,
Yeah, you have a really good point about sizing.
right.
Yeah, I'm frankly in the call school. I think we call here given these odds. We don't, again, our odds allow us not to have to win more than half the time, blah blah blah. But yeah, I think this is I think we side call. I'm comfortable with the fact that it's a triple barrel. I think that's a big issue. But we can also see bluffs, but it's very hard to have bluffs that he's betting into 3 people, 4 people.
And
I think I go to side call here.
Yep. Exactly. And I see it, by the way, with the side call. I'm also fine with it as a fold. Your big question on the flop of whether you can check behind the aces, I think you can. I mean, whether you can just flat call the aces, I think you absolutely can. We're going to look at a Prometheus that doesn't apply exactly, but we're going to do it there. And if you're thinking about why you would do that and all the things they're competing, don't think about your aces. Think about your overpair range, jacks, queens, kings, aces. And don't you want to raise those reverse linear?
I think you do want to. I think on flop.
Yeah, on flop. If
Yeah,
you're
I
gonna
think it's gonna be
have some
reverse
check-
linear that you check
if you're
raise
not-
those.
Yeah, if you're not check raising every overpair 100%, then a really logical way to do it is jacks more than queens, more than kings, more than aces.
Agreed. Yeah, that's the way I would look at this. I think this is your best flatting overpair.
Yeah,
That makes sense. Yeah. Again, heads up, I would have pretty much always 3-bet here. It was multi-way that made me go more lenient, more, I guess, restrictive. And also I thought that they might just keep betting into me and I'd be able to get value. It was the 10, obviously, that really concerned me. And then the triple
And then
barrel.
once the 10 comes, you are done with considering check raising.
Yeah.
You know, your aces, you're turning your aces into a bluff if you check raise there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting hand. I think I like call. Derek, you're in the fold school, right?
Well, he's betting into.
Yeah, that's
donks, so
totally
that you
reasonable
don't-
point.
You don't. You're not bluffing into 4 people or something, 3 people, right?
And
Yeah,
also, I'm the initial pre-flop, which might not be much in their head, but I've stayed in the pot with them and they've triple barreled into me after betting into 3 people and me being the initial pre-flop. And I'm not saying we don't know if this player is thinking about ranges and considering that obviously aces, jacks, king, queens are all in my hand and not theirs more frequently. And giving this player too much credit, if we're saying that they have completely bluffed me, that board suits them better than me, right? But I just feel if you take them out of the good player camp and then put them purely in the weaker player camp, which I think they were, it becomes even more of an underbluff spot. And therefore, I felt that the aces fold were probably
Yeah,
appropriate.
I definitely don't think you made a blunder. I think you are indifferent
Yeah.
on river.
Right. Now, taking a look at this in Prometheus, here's what we've got wrong with it, but what we like, which is we unfortunately do not have his call coming from anywhere near the same spot.
Yeah.
We don't. But we do have him in position, and we have one guy out of position. So we have that. All right. And so just to look at that on the flop, in the small blind, here's our first violation of DTO Wizard hugely. Look at all the betting from the small blind.
Yeah, this would be a pure donk multi-way. Not pure, I don't mean pure, but look at the frequency. Like,
Look at the
that's-
frequency of donking, just all over the place on this board.
Now this is interesting, and I don't quite understand it, except that you can argue that small blind has tens and fives at a very high frequency.
Yeah.
And it's a super dry texture.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's very few natural draws that can continue.
And I'm going to put him in the big blind in a second to see how that changes. But just off of this, when he does choose to check, which he does, here you are with your aces in the sandwich, which you were. Lots of checking, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
lots of checking.
And
Okay.
slightly reverse linear there. Aces. Let's see, where do we get, where's our overall frequency? Can we get it in a more easy way?
Like for player class,
Weighted
for hand
strategy.
class.
Yeah, let's see if I can get that there. No, I just wanted to see the numbers off here really fast and I can't.
Oh, I see your
So
point.
the aces, their check frequency, it's looking, I'm trying to look for the global aces check frequency where we don't care about the suits, and I don't see a quick way
Yeah, it
to
doesn't look like you can do it.
do this. Oh, we can, but we just sort of look, we'll just look at the same combo. 85% checks, kings do 87% check, queens only 73% check, jacks check more, and then tens we don't have. Okay, so now when you do it though, so when you check here, now we'll see on the call node. So you check here, and he bets all kinds of stuff. There's your bet from the button. You get your fold here, right? Comes back on you. And now lots of checks from your aces.
Yeah.
Is it reverse linear? No, it's not. It's not obviously the reverse linear, but lots of checking. So he bet into two after, he didn't bet into any players who hadn't already checked. So a little bit different, different positions, but just with that idea, no, the aces check is fine.
And
Yeah.
love to see this, Scotty. I know it's not easy to do right now.
Yep.
If we change the board to
We're gonna-
two-tone, if that does anything to our check raise frequency.
Okay, we'll do all that stuff. The other thing we will do is, let's see, did I just do that? Yeah, that's fine. Okay. We will go back to Poker Tracker, not Poker Tracker. We will look at, what do we want to see here? We want to see what was the turn? It was the 10 of which? Hearts?
Yeah, 10 of hearts, that's right, because the backdoor flush
Right.
of hearts
Gotcha.
became
So 10 of
available.
hearts comes in. All right. And we have from out of position here. Your aces hate this. And yet they still bet out a little bit, but they hate it. Let's see, when you bet, what do you need an ace of hearts to bet?
Yeah, you need the ace
Yeah,
of
you
hearts.
need an
pretty
ace of
much.
hearts to bet, and you don't want the ace of spades, and we're not going to worry about why. But the idea that you need an ace of hearts to bet makes sense. Okay. But you're checking this almost all the time. You didn't have the ace of hearts, if I remember correctly, right?
No, I didn't. Ace of spades, ace of diamonds, it was.
And now when he bets his bet was,
It was just over half. It was 9 into, I
Yeah.
can't remember what it was, 16, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Yep,
Roughly.
9 into 16.
9 into 16. So we don't have that size.
No.
But let's give him the
The B75, I think, would be the
B75 there. Aces just calls,
Yeah.
right? And now the river comes, the 6 of not hearts. The 6 of what, by the way?
It was 6 of clubs.
6 of clubs. There we go.
It's pretty cool. It's got a massive server farm behind it that it's solving in real time.
And so your aces do a little bit of betting now. And now now you don't want the ace of hearts to bet as much. That makes sense. Because
So
you don't
we have
bet.
donks here.
Yeah, we have donks,
Interesting.
not a lot. And we all know why you don't want the ace of hearts here, right?
Yeah, because you want them to be continuing their backdoor
When
flush
they-
draws.
Right. When they have the ace of hearts, when they have the ace of hearts, then they had a flush draw here much more often. And we want them to bluff it. We don't want them to bet them off a flush draw.
Can
All
we
right.
just talk a little bit
check.
about using a river dunk here with this hand class?
then-
Is this a strategy a betting strategy you guys ever use when you get to river a situation like this?
No, never.
So
No,
I've
never
tried
considered
it, but it hasn't ever worked for me because I guess I don't know what the ones I don't have any to review, but I have tried it. It's like a donk, what's it called? What else is the other
It's a
term
block
for
bet.
it in this? Block bet, that's the word I was looking for. Because I want to see it and I want to try and buy, the turn, but I think that stands out. But I've only ever tried it against weaker players who rather than thinking players, and most of the time when they do call me, they're beating me, right? So all I've done is I've controlled how much I lose to check call them rather than I guess steal pots, if you get me, which I guess you could ask is profitable if I was willing to call more, if I did check to them and they go stupid.
Yeah. I would say I'd clarify. Like I was like in this situation, no, I would not see any situation where I would think I suddenly get to donk out here.
Yeah.
In my position. Like there are definitely rivers where I do lead into, somebody who has been aggressive, but it's almost always because my range says, hey, I just made a flush, or hey, I just made a straight.
Yeah.
And you didn't, or that type of thing. Here, this is like really seems odd that you would.
Yeah, it's a non-equity. Well, it brings in a straight, but it seems entirely non-equity. It's a non-equity shifting card, it seems.
Right.
Yeah. The only reason I can see donk in here is that if you're putting them on a pair or a flush draw and you're trying to get control the showdown / get some values without them stop checking back. But obviously flush draws will probably just fold.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, seems odd. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't find it here, as I say.
So now I'll show you something that I think is insane, that almost makes me think that Prometheus is full of shit. I'm sure that I'm wrong about that. So,
I think it's very important to have a very healthy skepticism.
Right. So aces call 100% of the time here. Okay. All right. For this line, 3-handed in these positions, not exactly the same situation. Fine. Kings almost always fold, but you need the king of hearts to call, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you don't want the king of hearts with a king of spades. There's some block there. I'll accept that. I'll accept that blockage. But now queens. Queen of hearts always folds.
Yeah, this seems really inconsistent.
Right. Queen of hearts always folds. Okay. Well, Jack, so maybe, the interaction there, and it's possible that it's right that you look at King 10 does, King 10 only does this in this situation like that. But then the jacks go over to this. This is queens. This is jacks.
Like what's going on? Yeah.
Right.
So
Nines called so much more often than kings.
blocking 9-10.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's something. All right. There we go. So anyway.
So one quick idea, if you want to dive into that, I would imagine Prometheus has a subscriber-only Discord that you have access to.
Yeah.
And if you want to put the effort in, you can ask them this question and see if they have a rational answer for you.
Yeah. I'm gonna follow this up with some Prometheus questions.
Or join our Discord. There it is.
Yep, we got it.
Yeah, and where you were on about the 9s as well, the 8s were calling a lot more than both, but that's because it's blocking the 7-8, which brings the straight in as well, isn't it? So I can see why the 8s are calling there.
Here I am.
Yeah. So once you subscribe and are giving them money,
Yeah.
a lot of them can be really good about
Prometheus is really good about it. They-
answering your questions about, hey, I don't understand why your solver's doing this.
Yeah, when we first looked at using Prometheus, I had some questions for them. They got right back to me, so I'll be looking at this tonight and also.
And it's an
finding-
excellent question because it doesn't seem to be rational in its thought. Can we go back to just real quick, not to get silent. I'm just curious what his EV on calling is here on River. Does it show?
Yeah, we can look at EV.
Thanks.
Okay,
And then you switch up. I think it's above the
right
card.
here.
Yeah.
Here it is.
So call is green, and it's saying it's a negative EV call.
Yeah,
So now I'm
but
really
everything else is work. Everything else is work. Well, because you're fucked.
If
But
it's a
why is it
negative
asking
EV
us to
call-
call then if it's a negative EV?
If it's a negative EV,
folding it-
if
because
it's
folding
negative
is more
EV, if it's losing 11 chips,
Because folding loses 13 chips. That's why.
that's really a really weird. Why are
You
they?
think-
On average, okay. Because sometimes I beat them, so therefore I get 2 chips
What the
plus
fuck
EV
is-
in, right? Okay. It
They're,
kind of
they're
makes
just
sense, but
they're
it's a bit
just
weird.
calculating and displaying their EV metrics or calculation different than what GTO Wizard does, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
But
GTO Wizard is always going to call it's always going to call a fold here 0 EV, and then it's going to move from there. So
Right.
it's going to say fold is 0 EV, and then call is either a plus or negative EV call. They're just.
Yeah, so
I wonder
yeah.
if kind of GTO Wizard right sizes it, so it kind of level sets at 0 at fold, and then it gives you everything relative to the 0.
It could be it could be that, or the way it could be doing is it could be saying, once we are here, I'm not, that you fold, you lose no more. What is your EV on the chips you're putting in?
Yeah.
Maybe that's how it says it. But I mean, this does make total sense in this. You are not happy.
Yeah, it does make total sense. You are right
when
about
you
that.
pocket tens here. I mean, when with
Yeah.
the 2 10s here, that's a terrible card for you.
I think what we're looking at is just a different way that GTO Wizard versus Prometheus displays EV calc.
All right. Let's go to the next one we were in the middle of this one. This was Mike's hand when I got knocked off. So Mike, you were saying the 6s were a better fold, and I was saying right as I got cut off, well, he's getting 19. He's got 19 to 1. That seems like enough to set mine.
Yeah, I think I was like, we know he's not going to fold, and he probably should, and he probably can without it being a big
Yeah.
mistake.
Broken stack though, guys.
And then
Yeah,
I
it's
was
prob-
like, but then how in the hell do we go multi-way? So obviously King 4 must defend.
No. Much worse play.
Okay. Either way.
They raised today.
There we go.
Ah,
Broken
okay,
stack,
fair.
bad play. Okay. Everybody hates it.
So this would be kind of interesting because 8-5 obviously is going to check and probably just checks range here. 9s, the flop sucks for him. The flop sucks for his hand, but it's good for his range. And
Mhm.
so I bet he gets to bet here at a frequency that's like more than we think it is.
Yeah.
But most people are just going to check this flop here, especially with somebody still left to act. And then the 6s after flatting, I mean, they should check too, or maybe they should just start bluffing, but they don't have a stack to be able to really kind of back up what he's trying to do. So, I mean, he'll just check, I'm sure.
Yep.
But what do you guys think about c-betting 9s on that flop?
So as you say, because of the range, I think it's a good C bet because it's a double Broadway. If it was an ace with lower cards that hit their range, like the ace suited calling with lower cards on the button, I wouldn't. But because it's double Broadway, and
Yeah.
it's rainbow, I would be happy to see bet this.
Yeah.
33 probably.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was too, Richie. And then we get here, 8-5, check. I don't think, I mean, if you're playing 8-5, maybe you should start doing something, but they're not going to. Now with nines, after we've checked, I think we just continue to check now and just hope and pray that we can somehow see a showdown. Same with sixes. I mean, yeah, I mean, maybe sixes are too far down are so far down that you maybe start to bluff them. Like twos and fours and fives are probably really good to maybe start bluffing. And again, if you had
Agreed.
a whole stack, you probably get a little bit more leverage behind it. And
Although
that's
now it's a 2-street game, you can get away with a 2-street bluff. The pot will be small enough that your bluff will matter on the river. You might be able to get a 10 to fold if it calls
Yeah.
once.
And it's been checked huge twice. I think if somehow I was in this position, I would be looking at bluffing from the start, the bluffing from the button.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
you certainly, if the nines call once, you could get nines to fold on the river, but just not this river.
and then again, 8-5. I mean, he's there. He shouldn't be here. Maybe he should start bluffing, but he doesn't. Nines get the set on the flop that is probably good.
How often do you think you have the best hand here multi-way when you have a set of nines on this texture?
I would
100%.
imagine I'm in the 75-ish range now, because I mean, you can have King Jack is certainly viable in two hands here.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it's like crazy high, but it's high.
And
Yeah.
I'm like
75, 80.
yeah, I'm in the 80s, high 80s.
Yeah.
But Scotty, you're like 100%, right?
I'm 100% until I get raised, and then I call.
Oh yeah, I think
I'm with Scotty on this one. I'm not
our
gonna lie.
equity
I
is,
would be,
is good enough to bet.
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
I would
Yep.
bet, and I would probably bet the B60 size-ish,
Right.
like kind of a standard normal size. I wouldn't go over bet or anything.
No, we need to get called by a queen.
I pot it.
Yeah, pot's probably good. Certainly exploitatively, you can go big,
Yeah.
bigger.
But you're
ugly.
right that it's a smaller sizing, Mike, because everybody's capped AF here.
Yeah. He's just not getting called by a queen at 10 often enough with 10.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, he checked twice, so the queen doesn't think he has an ace, but I size it down. There we go. All right. We're gonna look. We'll look at this one, and then the other question is: did you want, Mike? Did you want to do a follow-up on this
Yeah,
hand? if I remember
it
correctly?
was frequency of check raising the flop if the flop wasn't quite so dry.
All right, let's do that one. So it's 10-5-4.
Yeah, it was 10-5-4.
yeah.
Rainbow was the original flop. If we go
Yeah.
10-5-4 two-tone and see if aces gets any more check raising frequency than it did.
Right. So once again, the small blind range gets to bet here. That's lovely.
It's to do the donkings.
Okay. There's the check. There's your aces checking. Check them. And he bets.
His frequency seems bigger now.
I'll go back to that step.
It just looks, just visually, it seems like that's a higher frequency of him betting, but he had a lot in the original one too, but this one seems like it's more even.
Well, let's see. 43% checks. And in the original one, which I have not gotten rid of, I can go to that step. That's this one. Yep. He was
Yeah, not much.
40.
40.
Not much. A little bit. Actually
Hey,
less.
that's my eagle eye spotting that extra 3%.
Because we had 43% checks, and now and on the old one we had 40% checks. So he's not betting more often. He's betting less often.
Yeah,
Right. So your eagle eye is
I was wrong.
a pigeon eye.
Okay, so he bets, and let's see. So we get the fold from
We get
from
fold.
big blind. And
And
do
now
we
here we
raise
are, maybe-
more? No, we
No.
don't.
No,
Yeah.
the suits might change though now. Now that the ace of spades is really active. You want the ace of spades to bet or nothing. You want neither suit or the spade.
Okay.
Okay,
So it's interesting heuristic to watch out for. See how often check raising goes away in
Yeah.
multi-way like this.
okay. And now on the board that we have, because this one counts, this was low jack button, I'm sorry, this was cutoff button. And let's put him in the big blind, just 'cause,
Mhm.
I mean, even to make it anything.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do cutoff raise, button call, big blind. And our single raise pop. And our flop is ace, queen, three, ace of hearts, queen of spades, three of diamonds. Three of diamonds. All right. This is not, I think the small blind has to check range here. And while this is doing its solve, we will look at the next hand, which I give to Dean.
The Deanster. Hey, Dean.
Hey.
Alright.
King 10 open. Oh, yeah, King 10 open.
King 10 can open here. He can mix. Let's see what he does. He's allowed to open. He opens.
3-bet.
Nope. But
Hmm.
it's a better 3-bet if he does.
It should fold, but 5-7. Oh, 31 bigs. Ugh. I'll probably just fucking rip it, but
Yeah, I like it. I like the jam. He doesn't.
nope.
I like the jam on 30 there.
It should probably fold 5-6, but who knows? 33 deep it.
Interesting.
Queens is heartbroken.
What a
Check.
great hand.
You want a better check?
Probably bet, honestly, because yeah, check raise is nice, but I just don't think the guy flatting is gonna bet a ton.
Yep.
You have to call one, right? With flush draw.
I don't know. Maybe only call one with the queen of hearts.
Yeah, I think you can fold to this size multi-way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sucks balls, but I think you gotta fold without the heart.
Oh, so villain dependent, is he like just betting because king high board is good for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a good point, Dean.
And you've got position, right? If you,
Mhm.
I think you could consider folding here, but I also don't hate the call
Yeah.
because you've got position, right?
That's snap fold for 8,
And also the size is egregiously large for
multi-way.
multi-way. Now this just gets interesting.
Yeah.
Check.
Was that a check you
The
said?
king heart, yeah, I'll check.
Okay. Check. He
That
bets
works
half
for me.
pot.
This is a
And the
three.
only opinion I have here is that he gets no bets bigger than half pot, and I wouldn't mind even a smaller bet, but that he doesn't get to go bigger when the heart comes in. That's my
Yeah, I
only,
like the smaller bet if you do bet. Yeah.
but I
But
don't, I think he has
nothing
almost no
calling here.
75 and no over bets.
I think king. It didn't 3-bet.
All right. Okay, let's look back at Prometheus now. All right, here we go. Did we just lose when I left here?
Who's
No.
what?
They did. We were letting it run in the background and it went
Oh,
away.
it died. It stopped. Oh, yeah, you're right.
That's annoying. Let's see what the board was. This was our,
It was
Uh,
nines, sixes, it was ace, queen,
Yeah.
3.
ace, queen, three, heart, spade, ace of hearts, queen of spades,
3 of
three
diamonds.
diamonds. Oh, good.
Okay,
It solved, but I had to retell it, but it had it saved. So that's good.
that's interesting.
All right, we like that. So this is the big blind and he has to check range on this. That's what we thought. We thought he can't bet this ever. Right? So he checks. Now here you are. The nines are going to check behind. That makes sense.
Yeah, we were wondering if nines get to c bet at
Yeah.
any kind of frequency, and here, no, they don't like c betting all of those under pairs.
So
Now, if
this,
you're
so we got
gonna
check
see
big
bet, you
blind.
see
Okay.
bet deuces, threes, four. You see bet deuces, fours, and fives to get sixes, sevens, eights to fold.
So on this texture, he's betting more. Well, it's probably close. I think heads up. I think if we put this in GTA Wizard, this texture,
Mm-hmm.
cutoff versus button SRP.
Hmm.
I think it would check more.
So with his nines, he checks. And here we see sixes betting a little bit, but fives, fives, threes, and twos to get sixes, sevens, and eights to fold. Sorry, threes don't count. Threes are value. Twos, fours, and fives.
So this is different than the previous ones we've seen, because this is essentially the middle of the sandwich, right?
No, it's gone check, check. We already did it. You want to go, you're on the wrong node.
Am I on the wrong? So the flop.
Yeah.
So,
Flop it, go and check, check. This is the node. This is the middle of the sandwich node.
oh, sorry. Okay.
This is the initial better, the initial raiser in the sandwich.
I
and his
think of the
strategy-
button being in the middle of the sandwich, but that's not the case.
Not really. Well, I mean, he is in that if the small blind, I'm sorry, if the big blind checks range correctly, then both of them are in a sandwich,
Okay, got it.
But what we see here, interestingly, is the similarity in the there we go. So check, right. Check, check. The similarity in this range and this range in how they play the small pairs. They both have the same incentive.
Yeah, and we kind of suspected this very small pairs, and kind of sixes is like it looks like about that threshold, right?
Yep.
Where we start bluffing these small pairs.
Yep. Okay. So it goes check, check, check. We get the 10 of whatever they were. We get the 10 of hearts.
So you need to check button.
I'm gonna hit the check button. And the 10 of
Okay.
hearts here comes in. And if I was smart, I'd be doing the other solve in the other window, but I'm not.
So what we think happened is that for some reason, when we took it off the focus, it decided it wanted to.
Yeah.
Do
And we'll see
something
if
weird.
And so what we'll do next time is I'll open up, instead of two tabs, I'll open up two windows.
Yeah, makes sense. Weird.
So let's do that.
I don't think, so what's gonna happen? Well, we can predict, maybe this is a good point for us to use our thinking caps and predict what's gonna happen.
Okay.
We had a 10 of, what was the 10 of
10 of
hearts?
hearts.
I don't think big blind's gonna get bets here.
Me either.
I think who's got nut advantage? Arguably cutoff has more, cutoff has more king jack.
He three bets some king jack suited in the button already.
And so, yeah, so his
Well,
four
so-
combos, king jack suit and the button are probably stripped.
Yeah.
And I think king jack off in theory is not there, right?
Yep. So no bets at all.
So I think nut advantage goes to cutoff.
Yeah. Okay. There's the check. Cutoff now loves to bluff deuces, fours, fives. Just 100% after nobody else took it on. Threes are value. And then sixes, sevens, eights, nines don't love it.
We argue when he has a large bluffing legion now after check through,
Mm-hmm.
that does point towards, in theory, him having a nut advantage,
Or at least a range advantage.
or at least a range advantage, yes.
Yes, we can argue that. And his king now he sees as value.
King now. Okay.
Yeah.
Can we confirm that real quick and look at equity of kings? Well, we can't, can we?
Sure. I think we can see
Thanks.
it. We can hit an equity button. I have to move you guys out of
I
the
think
way.
you have to, do you have to highlight the combo?
Yes.
We get frequency EV, but we don't get equity.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
that's
the
fine.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. We don't.
Yeah, because in GTA Wizard, it's very nice to look at equity and understand how
Yeah.
solver views it as buffer value.
Right. But it's
Okay.
value-ish and it wants to do this least with the completely non-suited combo. Nah, no, that's not true. The non-suited combo is the club. Well, yeah, with the club, the closest thing to non-suited combo. Okay. So with this, the nines against check. And now our friend with sixes. Same thing. Bluff your twos, fours, and fives that you didn't bluff before. And bluff a little bit of sixes, but mostly don't. And then we get the nine of not that suit. The nine of diamonds.
So who's got the nut advantage now? Maybe that's how we can use this time well.
Okay.
I would argue big blind is chock full of 9x.
Big blind's the only one who checked his king jack.
And big blind, yeah, maybe, yeah, big blind does have king jack now, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
But he's not so interested.
Yeah, but big blind has the king jack there. And that's what I think is we're gonna find. So that's how often he's got 50% of his king jack offsuit and he has none of his king jack suited. Now we go. And when he has 8-5 offsuit, I'm not sure how you play the 8-5 offsuit here. I'm confused. All right. So he checks. Our nines now go for it, and their size is big. They trust they trust somebody has something they can call.
Lots of overbets.
Lots of overbets. So I was wrong about that. That surprised me. I figured you
Well,
got
I think one thing to think about, Scotty, is that we have to level set against how much humans are protecting their checking range in
Yes.
this situation.
yes.
And I think that's important when we think about our sizing here.
And specifically, it's with the if you look at the suits, how often the spade heart does the bigger bet and the spade club doesn't. Spade club goes for the small bet.
Uh-huh.
So you would like him to have the nine of hearts because he can be in there with king nine of hearts. He can be in there. If the nine of hearts is there, then he can be, then he
me.
can be there with his, but nobody bet the turn. This all went checked. All right. Again,
Can we look very, try to figure out very quickly what his,
Yeah, the hearts are blocking his auto folds.
right. So
So you get to go big when you hold a heart, because then he's going to call with more value.
good point.
oh, right. So when you've got the spade, a minute, his auto folds, right. So when you've got the spades, no, I'm getting this, help me with this, Mike.
So when you have a heart,
He has
he doesn't have as many like auto folds. Like he doesn't have king nine of hearts and queen nine of hearts and
king eight of hearts.
that type of stuff that he's going to fold to your bet.
Right.
So you get to go big when you have a heart because now he's going to have more queen 10, queen, the
Mhm.
hearts aren't going to be part of his range anymore, as much as part of his range.
Right.
So he'll have more value hands to auto fold ratio.
Right. Okay. And the weird thing is though that he never that this hand went check, 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 check. So it's not like he ever had to fold them. But then again, he didn't. We also know he didn't bet them, and maybe he bets those. Okay. So Larry, what did you want to look at?
Let's try to figure out what his value threshold is here.
Okay.
It's really hard to do in this, but we can ballpark it. So, I mean, the first thing I would look at is, so we checked all the way to the river, right? So the first thing I would want to know is what's the best top pair that we can value bet? Well, we bet all our ace X, and it looks like we can bet all our ace X here.
This is insane. A set of queens in position is not enough value to bet.
Yeah, this is really questionable.
You still have somebody to act, right?
Yeah, we have
No.
someone to ask, but also I noticed aces are
we're the
doing the
cutoff.
same
Yeah.
thing.
We can still check raise them. You're right. We're the
Yeah,
cutoff.
we can still check raise.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine then.
And aces are doing the same thing,
king,
so
queen bet.
that's somewhat consistent.
Yes.
And
Kings are value.
King, queen.
You're not trying to get a king. You're not trying to get an ace to fold when you bet a king here at this
it looks
side.
like all the ace X are betting except for aces.
Yeah.
Right, so all our top pair is good enough for a value bet in their
Yep.
opinion.
Yeah. After
Yeah.
after this action.
Queen 10.
Yep.
And queen 10 is good enough.
Mhm.
Jack is too.
So, I mean, so it looks like kings are good enough, so second pair is good enough.
Jack isn't.
What about like our queen's marginal kicker, where that's what it looks like when we look.
Yeah.
Queen 9 is two pair. Queen 8 is not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Queen
Jack is barely.
blocks straight.
Is barely blocking. King Jack is nice. King Queen looks good enough.
Yeah, king queen is value.
So King Queen seems to be almost to me like at the beginning of what looks like a value threshold.
Right. And if you want to bluff, there's a bluff.
Queen,
Yeah, it's-
queen. That's a checking range.
6-5.
Yeah.
Ace, ace. King.
Very 6 high never wins. Very bottom of range makes sense.
Yep.
Jam it when you have it.
There we go.
No, that.
So in this case, when he he bets his nines, but if he didn't, you'd want to know what your sixes do on the river. If he checks, the river 6 now just goes, maybe I win. All the pairs go, maybe I win. And you bluff your real garbage, 5, 4, 6, 5, 7, 6.
Yeah.
All your aces are good enough until you get raised. You don't need a good kicker. You can bet ace 4. You know. And your bluff is king 6 is a nice bluff there. And it blocks the straight. And when you go back to this node and you bet your nines, and our particular combo was heart club, and heart club's size is 33, but he went overbet, which you can. Against the overbet size, here we go. What can you call with? You on the button never have king jack here anymore. And you have no jack 8. So you can only call with a set and 2 pair. And jack 9 blocking the straight. And when you fold, this guy who's had to check the whole time He finally comes along. And it's weird when I roll over it, whatever that is about. What have I done that makes this
Yeah, it's sort of graded out, huh?
graded out?
Can you
did I-
roll over individual
Oh,
hands?
I somehow, I got in this region here. And I have to, that's where it comes from. So you got to sort of careful how you come out of this. That's what I did. I rolled by that and it kept it on that. So here we go. Now it's not on that. Calls. 2 pair calls. A single pair blocking the straight, Jack 9. Calls, King 9 calls. That's ambitious. 8, 9. What? Queen 10 folds 72% of the time. Oh no, that's the overall thing. Queen 10 does this much folding, and 8, 9. Anybody want to play like this? I don't want to play like this. I don't want to be this good.
A lot of bluff catching in this node.
There is. There is a lot of bluff catching in this node. Okay. So that was that one. And then we had this hand here. And did we feel like looking at this one in it? Let's see, this hand was,
Yeah, could you go through the action real quick?
Yeah.
Open, flat, flat.
let's see, so this is, we won't be able to get it because it won't let us do hijack. It won't be able to do low jack, and hijack.
You could
Plus
put,
button would never have queens.
So we have to put them on the button.
I think button gets the flat queens to a low jack
Yeah.
raise on occasion.
Okay,
A small,
well, maybe it's worth
I
it.
think.
Low jack raise, button calls, and the small blind,
Maybe
Is-
aces, right?
8s.
Ace is what?
Flats.
No,
Not-
we don't,
not-
we don't trap. I don't think ace is free. Hey, what's up, Skate?
Hey, what's up?
Mhm. So we are on Hello Skate. So and our board is 10 of hearts.
Can I
two
have a
six-
humble suggestion here?
Yes,
So small blinds range. Does it include 8s at full freak?
we're gonna look.
Okay,
And if it doesn't, we'll change it.
okay.
King of spades.
You're warming up. You live in Miami.
Yes. Okay. So let's look at let's just look at the small blind range here. He has weighted strategy. Yeah, we've got a lot of 8s.
Okay, cool. Then we're golden.
We've got a lot of 8s. Okay. There we go. So small blind has to check. And now the king 10 loves to bet. Within the sandwich, the king 10 just loves it.
So now we're seeing, so people unchecked, and on this texture, all of a sudden, low jack is going cray cray.
But our combo always checks.
We want to,
If
Well-
you have the 10 of spades, you always check.
so if you're blocking back doors, you check.
He can't have when we don't have the 10 of spades, he can have top pair and a spade draw. And we would like to not give that a free card. We would like to bet and get called by that. When we have the 10 of spades, the best that they can have is they can have overpairs, they can have a better 10. Well, we have the 2 pair, I'm sorry. When we have the 10 of spades, they cannot have the 10 and they can't have
Pair plus back draw.
they can't have pair plus back draw. The only way they can do it is with the king of hearts They can have it with top pair. They can have king, jack of hearts.
Yeah,
Um, but we don't mind the king of hearts so much as the 10 of spades is the important thing.
so, what, can we look at the global, what is the global betting frequency here for our RFI player? It's
52.
betting half the time.
I think half the time.
Does, okay, so king high flop, we know often there are lots of C bets on king high flop, right? That's kind of a heuristic we've seen for out of position SRPs. Am I on base there?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so I can begin to understand. I'm a little bit surprised at the betting frequency, but once we think about it as a king high flop, two-tone, maybe it makes more sense.
Right. And when he bets this, which our guy did, but he bet it big. Right? He bet the bigger size, which doesn't break the solver. So let's look at this.
Yeah, you're going into a very thin part of it.
Yeah, let's first just look at this and see how queens respond to this. So our guy has, so the button does have queens, and he is calling the queens.
Calling the small size.
Calling the small size, and he's just doing it. Now, to the bigger size. Go back.
Move back.
Yep, go back. He takes the bigger size. It doesn't stop us. The queens still call, which our guy did, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he
And
called.
it looks like they're getting indifferent though. Did you notice there was some slivers of folds in there?
Yeah. Very small. And also we don't know how well we don't know how well that's solved. Right. So he bets, we get the call. The heart comes in. And now what does king 10 want to do? We had the king 10 of hearts. We had the king 10 of spades. So we never bet this one. This was the one that we checked.
Yeah.
Point that out. So that's going to
Point.
be a problem. All right. So that was the 6 of hearts. And so we have here a check, bet, call, fold. There. Now we have the 6 of hearts. I'd like to say that so far I've learned nothing multi-way. I've developed no intuition or sense of anything from this, but it's also our first day. Only
Small
2
sample size.
small sample size. Just letting you know that I'm not learning. All right. So we have none of our king 10 here at all. And
Can we dive into that a little bit?
Yeah.
I mean, so we all know this is incredibly complex, right?
right.
Multi-way is incredibly complex. It's going to be, I think the exponentiality, is that a word, Scotty?
Exponentialness.
Yes. Of complexity here is just not going to
exponential-
allow heuristics or patterns to reveal themselves as well.
Yes, I agree. He goes 5, and then he goes half pot. So even though he doesn't have this hand, the guy with queens still has his queens. Let's see how he responds to the 2 sizes with queens. There's about a 66 into him. There's this bet, and the queens are shook.
Is it queen of hearts? Is that? Yep.
Yep, you need the queen of hearts to continue.
And then
Rich
go big size and see if the hearts matter. See if the
Yeah.
heart matters.
Yeah. All right. Instead, he goes big, and the queens respond with more calling. What the fuck? You guys all saw that, right?
Yeah.
And you used to. So my one argument is that you're in a very low frequency part of the tree.
Did I really?
Keep in mind that flop bet frequency was 66% was essentially infinitesimal. It was less than 1%.
Oh, right. When I'm in the 66 node, right? So this is
So we're in a
okay, this
part.
is
So
accurate. Yes,
if
that's
this follows any of the habits are what we've seen in GTA Wizard, we would be getting the warning. You're in the low frequency part of the node, dude.
yeah. Okay, let's take that and let's go to this node with a king 10 and bet this size. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that being a bad solution.
Yeah, because it's just we can assume that they're using the same shortcuts that GTO is in their
Right.
solver
So this is
library.
right, and this was low jack button. Yeah. Okay. Check. Right. So check. We have the normal size bet. Okay, back on this. So here we go. Check, bet, and then this guy with his
Did you
button.
want low jack to bet or you want button to black bet?
I want low jack. I want low jack to bet
Okay.
because this guy's because queen's his button.
Yeah. So we need to.
Oh, I did it wrong. There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. There's the bet, and
That's
now
what
there's
we
our
want.
queen's call. They call without a heart at all to this size. You just call. Then we get the fold. Now the 10 of hearts comes. No, that now the 6 of hearts comes.
But we're never gonna have King of Hearts X here, right?
No, we're only looking at we are only looking at how the button plays as queens now because
Okay, got it.
because for this, the king of hearts, I mean, we can look at other king 10.
But yeah, okay, good point.
Yeah.
We can look at our King 10s.
Yeah, because he's still got, our guy now has, he just doesn't have the king of hearts, 10 of spades anymore.
She isn't really expressed here, but yes.
Yeah. He has, yeah, the fact that they're just never there. But he does have king of hearts here. So when he has king of hearts, he bets small with the king of hearts.
Okay.
When he doesn't have the king of hearts, he bets small. So he bets. But with the king of hearts, you can do bigger bets. That's what the difference is. You have some bigger bets with the king of hearts and no checks at all. And with these two, you do a little checking. And no big bets, 8%. So given this, our queens are going to face first to 75 bet, because that's what he did close to 75. And the queens look like this. You never fold the queen of hearts. And the other ones you fold 58, 58, 96. Okay. If he goes to the smaller bet, please make some sense. Smaller bet, your queens. Oh, they just all call. Yeah, that makes sense. Against a small bet, queens is enough. Against a bigger bet, you need the queen of hearts. Cool. That's poker. Did I just cut out?
Nope, we're here.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we hear you.
Just seeing.
Following along.
All right, good. Okay. And then the river, and then when the river comes, we didn't get to the river.
What
Because
would be interesting?
because we folded correctly to the half pot. So this was halfway in between the two. So which river do you want to look at? Let's look at the river where he bets big and we only have the queen of hearts.
What? I guess a flush. If a flush comes in, the queen of hearts is probably just always going to call pretty much no matter what. I'm guessing.
Right. And if it
Right.
doesn't
So
come in.
hearts probably is boring.
Yeah. So let's do that. He bets there. There's our call. And just total blank.
Yeah, like an 8 of heart.
We'll do the funny.
Yeah, like a blank, like a 2, or not a
Two is not a
not
blank.
a
but it's a
deuce.
funny one.
Yeah, not a deuce. that pairs the board.
Yeah. But I like that because the other
Eight
guy
of diamonds.
doesn't have any deuces. Oh, aces matter.
No, 8 of diamonds I was thinking
Eight,
would be.
eight of diamonds is blank. Brings in the 7-9 that he doesn't have. All right. And so now king 10 is enough to bet. Top 2 is enough to bet. Ace jack is enough to bluff. And the only kings we have, and king 5 is enough to bluff, is enough to bet. I don't think you're trying to get better kings to fold, therefore that's not a bluff. That's a value bet. So he bets, and his most common size along the whole thing is 30 is under and over. So 33 queens are gonna call, right? No. 33 queens, and now do you want to have the queen of hearts? You still do because you want to bluff the flush. You need the queen of hearts to call. Yep. And then to the bigger size, you just fold it all, probably. Instead of 33 on the river, he bets his big size. And now mostly fold even the queen of hearts. Okay. All right, that was, Dean got that. Richie got one. Skate. I break your brain with this. Oh, this is a good hand.
What is gonna happen here?
Oh, I don't know. Skate, you're up. If you're around. I'm gonna hit one button to ask Skate to unmute, and then we're gonna assume Skate is off skating for a minute. So everybody's gotten one, so we'd be back on me, but I really did a lot of the last one. So Larry, this is yours. You can suffer through this.
Jesus. Well, we all know what should happen. It should fold around to small blind and big blind has flats here.
Yeah.
That's not gonna happen. So now I have to anticipate what these people are gonna do. Hero's too smart to get involved here.
Normally you'd think that I'm the one who raises this, right?
I don't think you're gonna raise this.
I'm not, but I mean, if you looked at this and you didn't know it was me, you'd go.
Oh,
"Oh,
yes, yes.
well,
Normally you would think
obviously this guy raises.
a punter would raise this.
Gonna be this guy.
The only thing I can think is this guy's gonna limp. This might be a limped hand.
No, I
maybe-
I factored out limped hands.
Okay, so then 8-2 is gonna make a dumb, okay, so 5-3's, oh, broken stack. Okay, now it'll make sense.
Go for it. Go for it.
5-3 is gonna try to steal. King
Yeah.
9 has an excellent 3-bet, but clearly he does not with his own broken stack, so he's not, he's gonna flat. King says, 10 says, I've got Potter. And King 10 is in.
I bet
So
that
you
I
would
bet that
vote-
doesn't defend.
You think
Yeah,
the king
good
folds-
question. I bet it doesn't.
We'll see. We're gonna see in a second what Prometheus does with it. Oh
All
my.
right, so, this is gonna be interesting. So,
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna let Prometheus run while we do this.
sure.
Okay, so this is gonna be king of clubs, 3 of clubs, queen of diamonds, and we are button, small blind, big blind. You won't let me do that?
Kind of makes
Oh.
sense that big blind would have no flats.
Oh, I don't.
It's
Okay.
kind of a bummer.
No, I think what it's saying is that small blind would have no flats, and so there's no solve for it.
All right. Let's do this.
Why would small blind, the small blind, oh, but it allowed him to click on small blind.
Small blind. But once the small blind's in, yeah, he's saying these guys that they don't.
It's essentially it's saying against late position, it's all squeezes.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Now
we go.
now you're in, yeah.
Just to at least see something.
Yeah.
Okay. And now, and we gotta get the board again of the completely unrelated thing. King clubs, 3 of clubs, queen of diamonds. There we go. You do that, and we go back to this. All
All
right.
right, so small blind, So I would check in the blinds here. There's no dunking in theory here. But who knows what's gonna happen here?
So small blind checks. Which I would do.
Big blind should check.
Big blind checks.
So what would I do if I totally missed this board? Multi-way against a flat and a flat. If I had absolutely no equity, like zilch, like this, well, I've got a bottom pair. I'd check and see if I improve.
Okay,
I had like ace 3 here.
okay.
I could have ace 3 suited
You've got
here.
4-5. You've got 4-5. You've got 4-5 suited here.
Yeah, I
And-
got 4-5 suited.
Let me give you
Yeah.
4-5 of diamonds because 4-5 of diamonds is kind of like 5 clubs against that.
Yeah. Well, I've got a bottom pair. That's important.
Yeah, you don't have 3-4 here. All
I
right.
would check and see if I improve. I've got marginal showdown. I check. I mean, essentially, if you bet here, you're turning your very marginal showdown into a bluff, which he's doing.
Yeah.
So this is going to get interesting. King 9 is the value of his king X has gone up at this. He's playing 25 bigs here, or he's playing 50 bigs. So I think you call one. You're not ready to give up. It's very hard for you to improve, though. King 10, I don't have any clue because big bet, big bet. I have a little bit of a back door, right? I have runner straight. Big bet, big bet. Late position. I'm really indifferent. I think generally, I think I'd just get out of the way if I was playing this. I'd fold the best hand here. This guy's better than me. He's like, fuck you. This is a horrible play. You're only, you might actually get action. It might work out here. Because you might get action with the king 9. So 3-5 should fold. And everybody folds, yeah. He bluffed with the best hand. We don't need to see this in the, we can see this if you want, I guess.
Was there anything on any, well, I mean, yeah,
The
we could-
betting pattern's not
Sure,
gonna
yeah.
have any relation to what we see in the game, in the actual hand, but that's
Yeah.
fine.
the one thing is, let's see if the solver plays like Joey. Because the inner Joey on the king 10 makes it a trivial fold,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think what would you guys do here with king 10 facing this action?
Yeah,
I would fold.
I'd ditch it too, I think.
It's hard. I mean, I want to be able to have some kind of ability to improve. I got a back door, but that's it.
Unless we know, like these players are just, wacko, then I think folding king with 10 kickers probably best.
Yeah.
Now
It's
I'm
that
guessing
size.
solver. Well, again, like you said, Larry, solver's not going to have this betting pattern, but
No, it's not gonna have a big bet. It's not
I'm
gonna
betting
be.
solver does not play like Joey because Joey's opponents and our opponents don't, do this with bluffs.
Yeah.
Whereas solver's going to have bluffs and they're going to have,
Yeah.
some weaker value type stuff. So I don't know that solver's going to have a Joey type of mindset.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I mean, I think there's one heuristic I think that I'm curious what you guys think. Multi-way, are people more linear in their betting patterns?
I think so. I
they
mean,
more
I'm
what?
people and I am.
Are they more linear? Are they, in other words, do they have,
No.
they do not have as many bluffs?
I would 100% agree.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So that points us towards using Joey theory.
Right.
I wonder what
we
Joey would
started
think
it-
to know that a year after he left the group, we still refer to him about once every other session.
He would be very happy.
I think he'd take pride in that.
I think he would.
Deservedly so. He was a positive addition to the group.
Yes. Yeah. So first of all, king 10 offsuit, not there. King 10 suited there. So this is small blind. We're big blind. We're going to see what the big blind does. Okay. So, our small blind has the king 9 suited. And he bets it a little bit. The simplification of this, if you simplify this to do 100% check and never bet, you're fine. You don't need to learn the 5% donk here. right?
Agreed. Yeah,
Agreed. All right,
that's,
now,
we can call it noise.
this guy does have king 10 in this one, all over. He's got all the king 10 offsuit.
So that makes sense. This late position. I don't know if
Yeah.
GTO Wizard does though, but
Yeah, and
Oh, no.
I also think that Prometheus uses Munker solver ranges, which is a 2x open from the hijack.
Oh,
What's
that's
the
important.
What's the pot? 6 big blinds, so that's two,
Yep,
2, and 2.
60 big blind open. Yep. Yep, this is.
So
Oh.
to a 2x, maybe king 10 has some defense there.
Yeah. Okay. There's our check. And now this king queen is all over. Just really slams for this guy. And he has big bets. This is great. He has a big bet.
But he loves this flop.
Right. He loves his flop. So let's see. 3-5 offsuit is a big bet. Okay, good. So we'll do that. And when he bets big here, you can't fold your king yet. You know, there's the king 9 suited. With
And
the
let's be
backdoor
careful.
diamonds.
Let's be careful. We got to delineate this hijack range versus he was on the button, right?
He was on the button. Yeah.
So if a solver allowed you to do a button, small blind, big blind, this will be different
Yes.
because the hijack range versus the button range is considerably different.
Yeah. Hijack is much tighter. But what wouldn't happen is we wouldn't be folding king 9 more often against the button's wider range.
No, true.
Right. So with this, we see you're never folding the king 9 of diamonds, and you rarely are folding any king. The question is, when you call the bigger bet, what does Joey Theory say about the big blind? What does solver say to that? So there's the call. And now you're on the big blind.
Ooh, yeah, look at the chips.
Joey.
Wants the club.
Wants the
Wants
club.
that back door.
And you could see that. You could absolutely see. You were saying that, Larry. You said, I need a backdoor something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Without a club, full on Joey. Great.
I mean, it's like, these backdoors are 3%, right? But we need to delineate someplace, and I think it's an easy heuristic to know.
Yeah. Now, does our guy have the backdoor? No. So if you notice with the backdoor, there's some raising.
There is some gangster raising
There's
here.
some gangster raising. You could go 66. I mean, you could get in there, but you need the club to do it.
Which correlates to the fact that our RFI raiser has such a high c-bet.
Yeah.
Frequency.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, look at some of these other raises.
All right. So the other raises we see here. King Jack is a good enough kicker, so the Jack is a good enough kicker. Surprisingly.
And the
Eight.
raises probably come from the Jack of clubs.
Yep. And this weird Jack of diamonds also that you don't get in the King 10 at all. It really cares about the difference in this kicker strength right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. This is a party.
So a lot of 3x getting after it.
Yeah. There's your 2 pair. There's your 2 pair. And then your Jack 3 is again pair plus draw.
Pair plus draw.
10-3.
Are the other 3x pair plus draws? They must be.
Well, yeah. Absolutely.
Yep.
And the difference between 7-3 and 6-3 is dramatic. The 6-3 is the one that call, right, okay, so the 6-3 does calling, and these other ones all do raising. Okay. All right, that was Larry. After Larry is going to be Richie. Richie 2, 3, 4. After Richie is going to be Dean. Dean 2, 3, 4.
Yep.
Okay, it's Dean. And then Skate, if you're back, you have one coming. So just yell when you're here. This is Dean. Oh, Skate's here. This one's Skate to catch up.
Sure.
All right.
Um, okay, this looks like it's gonna be a blind versus blind battle.
Right.
Ace, A6,
That's what should happen, but it's not
Yep.
going to happen.
probably not. Probably. I mean, if I were to guess, let me see. How could I donk? Yeah, fold all way. Button is.
He's going to raise.
V-pip.
He's going to, it just turns out this guy likes to raise his buttons.
Okay.
It's Mark Goons. He's raising his full range on the button. Although
Okay.
Mark Goons only has 58 big blinds. I
Queen
don't
deuce.
know.
For the queen, I think I would probably, in theory, queen deuce would probably be a fold, and you could what? Queen deuce would
Yep.
probably be a fold, and you could start at maybe I don't know, queen 7 offsuit. Okay.
Queen 9 is your standard,
Queen 9, right?
but you know, Queen Deuce is so far out of that thing. But yeah, Queen 9's standard on the button.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, good point. A6 V-pip, they look like a pretty straightforward player. I imagine they're going to fold, as you should. Small blind, call or razor fold.
Yep. But
He's-
unfortunately, he's going to play wrong.
Okay. All right. And another V-pipper, I imagine they're going to flat. King eight.
This is an easy fold that he does not take.
Yep.
There you go. Everybody made a mistake on this hand.
Yeah. All right.
Everybody got something.
Well, the A6 here in a wide configuration, late, they might stab A6. I'm assuming on draw heavy board, so they may or may not stab, and if they will stab, they're going to go pretty large.
Hmm.
But
And
in
if it
general, we should check to the pre-flop razor in general.
Yeah. But he decides to just bet right out.
Yes, I was right.
And this is what that I want to see where I'm at bet.
Mhm.
Yeah.
King 8, nothing going on. They should fold to the sides with their gut shot, and queen deuce with the ace being present there, and straights. Middle pair, they should fold.
Yeah. So your King 8, I agree to this size should fold, and also with a player behind. He has no reason to be confident that he's going to get to see the next card, even if he calls the 5.
Oh yeah.
So I think both those go into this being a good fold. I'm with you. And here on your second pair, I think your shit kicker. Because you could have queen 3 suited here on the button. You might even have queen deuce. You could play queen deuce suited on the button.
Yeah.
And so if you had queen deuce of clubs here, this is like a really good fold, I think. So let's see
Yeah.
but he calls it. And now let's do
The
our-
only way, if I had a queen in my single queen, the only way I think I would call this size bet if I had my kicker was first if it was suited, I had a backdoor possibility with some kind of good shot straight draw combo.
Okay, and this is ace, queen, 10. Okay, we're not going to look at it for their hands. We're just going to look at we're going to learn something about this board in a different configuration. Okay, so there's his call. Keep hitting the wrong button. You're ace 6. What do you want to do, Skate, with your ace six? And 29 big blinds with it in a 20 big blind pot.
They called? Oh, wow.
Queen
Wow.
deuce.
Honey, he called the queen deuce. The a6. What are they gonna do? Should I say guess what they're gonna do or what they should do?
Yeah, do them both. Let's start with what you would do if somehow you got here, and I know you wouldn't be here, but here you are.
Mm.
And then what you think they're gonna do. Those are the two questions.
Okay, what they should do. Here I think that goes out of the window because we donked on the flop, so that just goes out of the window completely. So what I think they're gonna do is they're gonna check.
Okay.
I
And
was
they
wrong.
jam. They jam,
They jam, right?
which I think is the worst play possible from them.
Yeah.
They're pulling a Larry, not the best choice.
Right. But if this guy calls, it's a great choice. Yeah. Yeah. It seems like somehow getting here with this line, check calling becomes really good. You're usually chopping the pot with other aces. And when you don't, give a guy a chance, give someone a chance to bluff. Seems. Okay. Now let's see what we learn about this board in this completely different configuration with completely different ranges. So this was a 2 big blind raise, and the small blind called and the big blind called. That's where we are. And we raised from the hijack. So first up is the small blind, and the small blind has some good hands here. He's got pocket tens, and he's got king jack, and he checks range. And on this board, now we're seeing some interesting things. The way this board hits the hijack, the big blind checks range too, and he has king jack and a little bit of pocket tens. And even though both of them were forced to check range, the big blind, the hijack basically bets range here. That's shocking. It's not shocking to me that the hijack has enough of an equity advantage that he can bet a ton here. But knowing that not against playing live opponents, but knowing that playing against two people who have chosen to check range, you are allowed to bet range into two people, seems crazy to me.
And he obviously has a semblance of a nut advantage because of the sizing. Look at how often he gets to bet large 66.
Yeah.
66.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though they both have king jack offsuit. All right. So his most common size is 25. He bets it. And now you're back on the small blind. And what do you have to defend? You have to defend every ace. You have to defend every queen.
Every gut shot with a king.
King jack is, no, it's king 10, king 9, king 7, king 6. You call a king here to the small size. And then let's just never learn this. Let's just never do that, shall we? Let's just never, ever do that. Let's not even look and see what suits you have to do that. All right. But if he makes the bigger bet, which he was allowed to do, now aces start to fold. All your queens are gut shots and a queen or better. So you call all your queens, that makes sense. And all your tens are gut shots or two pairs or this. Your jacks, which are a pair and a gut shot, start to fold. And none of this happens. Alright. So let's see, on the big bet, what do you need to overcall in the big blind? Joey theory. All your aces fold. You need two pair, a pair and a gut shot, two pair, and ace nine is the lowest thing that considers it, and it's gonna be suited. It's gonna have backdoors to do it. So. Is there anybody want to go any farther on this hand? Or does this tell us enough?
I think we've used this go on sand enough.
Oh, actually, no, one more thing before we do
Okay.
it. Let's fold the small blind and see now what the big blind has to defend. Now against the bigger size, the big blind. Defends a lot of aces.
Yeah, good point. And also, we now are still playing king jack.
Right. So. Your suited aces have their backdoors, and the one without a backdoor does a lot of folding. Ace four is good enough. That's crazy. That's interesting. Ace four is good enough. And ace five is not. And you have more ace four than ace five, and it's still not good enough. And then on the offsuit branch, only with the ace of clubs. Because if you had the ace, because the ace of hearts and the ace of diamonds. Huh? Anybody?
Nope.
If you have the ace of diamonds or the ace of hearts, then he can't. Why do you want to be against the ace of diamonds there with the ace nine? Because then he's got a pair and a draw when you give it to him. Don't you want to, wouldn't you rather him have the ace of clubs? So at least he can't have a flush draw to go with his ace that often beats you. All right. Let's look at EV. Does that tell us anything? Well, we don't know why, but these are negative EV. So that's why you fold them. And these are positive EV, and that's why you call them. But why they are those things? And of course, I'm willing for someone to say, oh, blockers. But I do not understand. I do not understand the blockers that do that. And that's going to be the theme of March Multiway Madness. I don't understand the blockers. Right. And that
We're
was
gonna have a lot of I don't understand this month.
yeah. Yep. And we did that also, by the way, last time we did multi-way. Multi-way was hard, and that was with a simplified multi-way model. All right. Richie, would you like a hand?
Yeah, I can go for it.
All right.
Okay, so 9-2 should fold. 3-3 I would fold, but I can imagine these people open.
Okay. It exists.
I know it exists. I don't open
It
that low, these pairs quite
Yeah.
often in this position, this deep. I'd
It's a
open them
5%.
later. Yeah.
It's a 5%er, 5-7% raise, but you know, it exists.
Yeah, I just never personally, I just never feel that comfortable with them in the position when
So what would make,
in a
so what
large
do you,
table.
what do you want to see at the table for you to increase your 5% of them to 15%? And what do you want to see to take your 5% down to 0?
So
Sure.
if there aren't many limpers behind, then I would probably be willing to open them. If there were a lot of limpers behind, I would be certainly closing with them because I just, even when you get a set in a multi-way with threes, I wouldn't be the most confident personally. Like I would still bet them. I'm not going to fold them. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, it's more likely you to get set over set when you go very low in your sets, right? So that's just why I don't like them. But I do open them, and I've actually started limping behind in cut off and button with low pairs as well. And I do feel like that's working based on our last call. So yeah, I actually play the pocket threes more frequently when in position than out of position, which I'm liking. But yeah, I don't know. Do you lot frequently play them? I know it's only a low percentage, 5%, or do you not?
I play them if I think that my opponents will give me their stack when I flop a set.
Yeah. If it was regularly going to be going like just heads up, or you know, against say a button or the blinds, I get a 1v1, I don't mind it too much. But if I've regularly got limpers, I would be just chucking threes away.
So I'm going to do it. These are the things I'm going to do. The thing that's going to make me open them the most often is a table where the blinds don't defend and we don't get 3-bet. The second thing is where the table goes
3-betting's a good point, yeah.
And we don't get 3-bet. So if the table has 3-betting and squeezing, just fold them. Take your 5% and take it down to 0. If the table just folds a lot, it's just like a very tight table where you're just looking for any hand to open, threes is fine.
Yeah, agreed. I just don't often play on very tight tables, to be honest. So that's why I just don't get in with threes.
I think rather than folding threes, you should call for a table change and immediately move to another table.
Okay. There's that.
If you have to not play small pairs because the table's too tight or because the players are too good, you're in the wrong game.
Okay. Now the thing that is very rare is you need a table that is both tight and not aggressive. So most of the people who fold to raises a lot have 3-bets in their range. So it is very rare that you find a table where that you get to raise the threes and take it, and you know the blinds fold or over folding to you. But if you do, that's great. And then the same thing Derek pointed out. If you're at a table where there is very little 3-betting, you can open your threes and just miss the flop a lot and go multi-way.
Yeah, the thing is multi-way, I don't like playing it because obviously multi-way you've got to check a lot more, right? Where if you're going heads up, you can still play the range battle, right? So I could open threes where you just say against a button or a blind, and I could still play the range advantage. So with threes in a heads up pot, aces, broadways come on, I'm still going for it with that, playing my range to a certain extent. But in multi-way, you pretty much most of the time have to shut down, and it just doesn't. And then when you do hit the set, you are also not confident in multi-way, right? So that's one reason why my table's a bit loose, which I quite like. This hand is not something I do not like on my loose table.
Gotcha. And you're only going to limp this behind in like the cutoff and the button to a limp.
Button,
you're not going to
depending if the small blind and big blind aren't 3-betting too much, right? I would be limping the threes in cutoff and button, yeah.
You're not open limping them. You'd limp them after a limp, right?
Oh yeah. No, I wouldn't open limp. I would no open limp in range. I would open with threes and cut off and button, but I would not open limp.
Great, that works. So he opens them.
7-9 should fold. I'm guessing 10-8's going to play it. Oh no, this is hero. You're definitely going to play it. Joking. Yeah, I'm going to fold it.
I think we're gonna be like ace jack and 4-7 or king jack or queen, maybe the
Yeah.
jack comes in. Let's see.
It's probably, yeah, four-way. Oh, fair enough. Okay, three-way then. I was gonna say four-way. Yeah. And they're gonna obviously limp as well. Oh,
Yeah.
I call, sorry.
And this is probably a bad call. With 4-7.
I bet it's close,
It's close.
but I
Is
think
it
you're right. I
close
think it's
with an early
It's too
open?
disconnected.
Yeah, I think it's a bad. I think it's bad.
Maybe with a later open, it might start calling, but I think with an early open, it probably doesn't. Or is it? Am I looking at that the wrong way? I wouldn't call it, but
Right.
I'm just wondering what the solver does.
I
Right.
think
So
big
here,
a big three bet or fold is better.
right. And this was the small blind call, right? So this is our configuration. We'll see. I don't think the big blind's gonna. Now this is also only a 2 big blind bet, not a 2.5, and this is a low jack, not a low jack -1. But I still think the 4-7 is gonna fold in this, and if it folds in this, it's if it folds in this, then it definitely has. Then it definitely has to fold to 2.5 and 1 earlier.
Yeah.
So here we go.
you can look at pre-flop ranges too.
I can, but I don't have to because I'm going to see him in a second. We're going to see him on the flop.
Okay, so
5. All right. Queen of
Ace
Hearts.
Jack is gone a bit loose here, right? With this early open, I don't think it even free bets in that situation from small blind, does it?
No, I think that's a pure fold. I think pure fold.
Thought so.
Queen of Hearts, 6 of diamonds, 5 of spades. It should be 5 of spades, but oh wait, I hit the wrong button here. Hello, about 7 minutes, and I'll call, and then I'll now. Oh. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Right. Right.
Has anyone checked GTO? Is that available to check in GTO? I can have a look.
Here we go. Sorry about that, you guys. Okay. So the actual flop is not the 5 of hearts. It is the 5 of spades, right? What was the thing? It was Queen of Hearts, 6 of diamonds, 5 of spades. Queen of Hearts, 6 of diamonds, 5 of spades. There we go. And this is going to be our last hand, even though I'm not in it.
All right.
Both because of time and also because my brain is broken.
So small blind's getting a lot of donks here.
Yeah. What is it about? Oh, okay. So what we've seen is that the boards that really favor, that those high ace, king, ace, queen, 10, the king, queen, 6 board, I think were the ones, and we'll do some research on that tomorrow. Those were like the ones where the small blind had none. And here, that 5-6 combo there is good for them and not so good for the low jack. So maybe that's where these come from.
I would argue that it's 2 things. One, it's a pretty static dry board.
Mm-hmm.
And 2, if we had the range explorer that we did in GTO Wizard.
Yeah.
And we compared frequency in range of top pair, I would imagine small blind has more queen X.
Right.
And that makes sense when we look at what we see as their flattening ratio, right? So they got lots of queen X. Including the 16 combos of eggs queen off.
Right. So now the first thing we're going to look at here. So as we start with the small blind, the small blind has his ace jack. And it misses this entirely and has to check it. The big blind, 7-4. Oh, I could not have been more wrong.
And that could be because it's probably a 2x open up back there.
It is a 2. Yeah, so, wow. All right, so now we have this and our low
We're gonna
jack.
have an interesting hand then.
Yeah, this hand just got interesting. Okay. Maybe we'll make it
Got
always.
the wrap, boys.
All right, so here we go. With this in mind, let's finish the hand here and then we'll go and analyze it there.
Okay, so where are we now? Jack, yeah, I should check this. 4-7.
Stop it.
It's
Oh, good.
interesting. It's 4-7 as the upper ended, right, on that particular board, but
Oh, I hope I didn't just destroy everything we just did. All right.
You had 10-8.
I had
There it
10-8.
is. I see it.
Thank you. Oh, good. There we go. Good job. I had the 10-8 suited right here.
Yeah.
That's me. No, that's wrong one. No, this is me.
Okay.
This is it. Excellent. Nicely done. This is all because the keys on my computer don't work anymore. That's why I'm getting a new one. That's why I've been bouncing around making these mistakes. All right, so here we go. So check.
yeah, 4-7 should check being in the sandwich, even though they have the open ender. Threes in position, multi-way. Obviously, they have a lot of queens in their range, but it's a low connected board. One's a broken stack. I think you still check this back, even if you had the queen, personally. I don't know. Yeah, I'd check it.
Yep.
Multi-way. I tend to try and reduce streets in multi-way. Oh, lovely board. Okay, so ace jack should just check again. That doesn't benefit them at all. 4-7's obviously now got a pair as well as still having the open ended. No one's shown interest. Could they bet this small, their broken stack? No one's shown interest. You could still be concerned about the behind. I think they could put a small bet in here, 2.5, 33.
Yeah. And checking seems okay too. You know,
Yeah.
they're gonna call a lot of rivers. You're gonna have to call one if
Blocking
the
7-8 is nice.
Yeah, if I had the 5-7 here, which I could do in a big blind situation here, or the 6-7, I would probably bet here. So, but yeah, check-ins still okay. And then threes now, obviously, they've been double checked to again, and now they've hit the, I guess, potential nut low, but they could also be classed as, I guess, yeah. Well, it's an open-ended, sorry, but if it hits the top, they're on the lower end of the upper-ended,
Right.
which isn't the best. So, but I think with two streets of passive actions, and you've picked up a little bit of equity, you could bet here still. In position, I would maybe even consider going slightly bigger, 50%. But yeah, 33 to 50 because it's multi-way.
Yeah.
I don't know. Would you actually be 50 to 75%? Because it's a small pot going relative size. Yeah, I think, do you know what? I actually change out 50% to 75%, probably.
That's big there. Good. And now we're on
Yeah.
the river. And final.
Yeah, ace jack, like they could win potentially by showdown with their ace high with all the passive action, so I still wouldn't bet here with two to come. Yeah, that's just I disagree with that. But 4-7 now, they've hit the straight, right? I'm not counting wrong yet. They've hit the straight. So the question is if they think the behind action is going to do anything. And with two passive streets already, I would argue they're not going to do anything. So I would be raising here with the straight now.
Yeah.
Yeah, what have we got? 11 blind in the stack. They could be stabbing, but I think all in's too big, even if you're hoping, but because you're only going to get called better. So I would probably go. What are we looking about pot size? So 12 bigs. No, that'd be slightly higher. But the pot bet would actually be 19, wouldn't it? But if you do pot on base what the value is now, it's about 12. Without kind of confusing. So yeah, somewhere between 12 and 19, isn't it? Really, we're looking at as a bet size. So I would probably, yes, play it safe in the middle of the 12 and 19 and go about 15.
Okay. And I'm gonna just call here.
Okay.
But I see your lot. My logic for the call here is that when someone bets into a 4-card straight, they are polarized. And
Agreed. If someone goes over me now out with the 3, right, I would probably fold it because again, I've only got.
Yeah.
You could be losing to a 7-9 maybe, but I also wouldn't be here with 4-7. But I want to try and get a bit more value, and I don't think anyone behind me is gonna be raising.
What do
Maybe
So
you
you
do?
don't
tournament.
think,
So
What are you
so you
getting
guys
more
don't
value
think this
from
is
with
a hand
Rick?
that's good enough to raise?
pardon?
Yeah, I don't think it's a good enough hand to raise because not because I think I'm beat, but because two things have to happen when I raise. I have to have the best hand, which I almost
mean,
always do, and I have to
You
get
have to get called.
which I never do
Yeah.
unless I'm just never getting called by a worse hand. Never being, I'm exaggerating. I'm never getting called by a worse hand, to my raise, but every so often he has a better hand.
I see your point. Well, there's only one combo that's better, right? And it's 9-7
Right.
suited.
Yeah, that's all it
Yeah,
is.
I know, and that's why I don't know. I think 2 pairs we call here who have just hit it, the random ones, or the ones who are really slow playing it.
I think you use a raise fold strategy here.
Yeah, I think raise fold personally.
Okay.
You could potentially argue, trying to do the maths because I didn't consider this. If you just flat here and then the person behind you also calls, you've then got 8 bigs. Where if you're raising to no, it's more value to potentially raise and get called, but you're
Yes.
risking losing the 4 behind. Yeah, I think I always raise here, and then if someone shoves over the top of me, obviously I'm unhappy and just fold. But I'm looking for slightly more value than just. So this is wrong. I think you limp here not limp, you call because it's the same as just doing a small raise if the person falls behind you and the other person calls, but making it riskier. So
You have
I
to get
think
more
this is the
value.
worst.
Yeah, you have to get more value than that.
Yeah,
Okay.
100%.
All right,
I think 15-ish. I'd be looking at 3x and then adding a little bit more on as my standard one in this situation.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at this one in the solver. And that's will be our last one, but it's possible that what's gonna happen is in the middle of this, I'm just gonna say bye, and then we'll pick it up tomorrow.
Okay, you're running over for us. Appreciated.
Yeah, I am, but that's
Also, due
fun
diligence,
call.
I have to mention, I'm getting nervous about your battery.
Oh, are you? Oh, 20%. Relax.
Okay.
Relax, people. Come on, 20. You got 20 big blinds. You do not need to panic in a tournament. You've got 20 big blinds.
Chip in a chair. You got a chip in a chair battery.
No, you don't.
Do any of you often play tournaments? Just as a quick question while this is loading.
I do.
Every
Yeah,
20
I do
years.
sometimes.
Okay. It hasn't loaded yet because I didn't tell it to do it, did I? Oh no,
Because
it
I
did.
was just thinking at some point of slowly introducing tournaments as a side, which doesn't feel the most effective because you obviously all need to steady it, and it would be what's it called? You're not doing a large enough sample size for variance. But I've seen some tips and advice of playing tournaments on the side, even if you're a main cash player, to start giving you that experience and knowledge, and then also the potential when you do not necessarily win it, but place high or even win it, you've suddenly boosted your bankroll quite a bit, right? But the difference is you're not just playing with 100 big blinds in a tournament.
Yeah.
Well, I play the poker coaching free roll whenever I can. And that's on Coin Poker. That's a great one. I play some of the triple up and double up short ones with my wife because she likes to do that. And if you do start it, I mean, Louis' study group, the 3-day-a-week one that starts 2 hours before this one, is great. So there's so much to learn from that in poker theory in general. They got some great players there and people who really understand it.
Yeah. So do I have a minute to reply, or do we not have the time for that?
We have a minute to reply, and then we'll start on this one tomorrow, probably. It just depends on when my phone rings.
Yeah. So Richie, I would say it depends on what your long-term goals are. Like if you have a long-term goal to
keep
like
increasing
play
my
live,
stack. Yeah.
high stakes, cash.
I'm not
probably
sure
bet-
that full long term yet. I was seeing how it going, but short, I guess short long term, right? Cash makes the most sense to me because it's very flexible, like where tournaments are a lot more time commitment. But obviously, if I was to get my position where my bankroll was quite significantly larger, then I would probably feel like maybe tournaments start to make more sense.
So the tournament skill set is a lot wider than this skill set.
Yeah.
And it's a totally different skill set. I would say these days you got to pick one and stick with it. But tournament skill sets, I mean, you get learning about ICM, learning about different stack sizes. It's a whole different world to me now.
It is,
I,
yeah.
I don't go, like, I used to go to the tournament session on Thursdays with sixes,
Mhm.
just because, I've been studying with them for years and just for fun, but I don't go anymore because it's like I don't need the extra noise in my head.
Right.
I'm just specializing in
Agreed.
cash.
Yeah, agreed.
My humble recommendation is pick one and then deep
Stick with
dive.
it.
All right, so, the first thing we see is here is on this one, we go to, there's our flop. Now we go to our small blind range. We have, this is not our small blind range. First one, yeah, small blind. There's the small blind. He has some bets. The big blind checks range. And now your threes can do some bluffing. Because you can be here, as we said, you can be here with threes and deuces from the low jack. They exist.
Yeah. And you
Yep.
can, obviously, queens are in your range, so I can understand why you're bluffing with potentially a lot of your
Yep.
range.
Yep. Your aces, kings, and queens all bet. And then when you get under pairs to that, we see a very nice reverse linear here. Jacks less than tens, less than nines, less than eights.
Yeah.
And then we go, down. Here is actually strangely linear, but unimportant. Okay. So our guy here had his threes and he decided to check them.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Just fine.
Next card was the amusing, once again, hitting the wrong button.
It was the 7, I think it was, but I can't
Four
remember what
spades.
suit.
The 4 spades comes in.
Okay, completely wrong.
The 4 spades, because we know that because it gives this guy's 4-7 a pair.
Yeah, yeah. I can
4
remember he
spades.
got a pair, but I thought it was a higher pair rather than the
Right.
lower pair.
4 spades. Oh, really? You have to think that long for this.
Oh my God, 1 minute. Maybe I should have asked the question now.
Yeah, there we go. Well, we didn't expect it.
Do any of you, another question then while we're waiting, do any of you play Omaha as a secondary game?
I play Omaha 8. I played Omaha 8 or better, the limit version of it a lot. I don't play any pot limit Omaha. And
Okay.
Larry plays double board bomb pot.
I know that's one reason why I was considering maybe putting a little bit of study time into it. I'm not playing enough live yet, but that was one reason why I was considering putting study time into Omaha was for the double board bomb pots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, PLO double bomb pots are a different animal than regular PLO because you have no pre-flop action.
True.
So if you choose
True,
to
didn't think about
study
that.
for bomb pots, you want to specialize on bomb pots. Nunez has a good book, and Bart Hansen probably has the best online training for it.
Okay.
What does Bart say about Omaha double bomb?
He loves them. He's got a big split pot. He used to play a lot of Omaha high-low, so he's got a lot of experience with split pot theory. He seems to he fancies himself an expert, and
For spades. Good.
he seems to enjoy them.
All right. So back on this.
Person still checking in small blinds.
Yeah,
with pretty much range.
Yeah, the small blind is still checking range.
But
this
not
bit.
still because he had donks, remember?
Oh yeah, it was the
Right.
middle. It was the
He
sandwich.
was the one who
yeah.
had donks, and it was the big blind who had
Yeah.
to check range.
Yeah.
Right. So here, the surprising bet is the ace-3 of hearts, not the ace-3 of spades.
Interesting.
That's surprising. It could be in check raise land. Okay, now he checks. You're 4-7.
Good enough.
It's good enough.
What did they have exactly? Was it the 7-4 of clubs? The one that
They
is
had
betting?
7-4 of, I'm almost sure it was clubs. Yeah, 7-4
Yeah.
of clubs.
Interesting.
The one that does it the most.
Yeah.
The one that just does it. So that's nice to see. And then you were saying I want to do it with a 5, with a 5-7, I want to start doing it more, and you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
5-7 all over it.
I would have done it with their hand, not necessarily because of the club holding, just with their hand as well.
And the 6-7 gets weird. And the 6-7 of clubs.
Straight flush draw. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, straight flush draw. Forgot about that. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, 4, 5, 6, 7, and middle pair. You're all over it.
Yeah, I'm
Because
surprised
you're doing-
the heart doesn't though. Why is the heart not?
Maybe because you have the spades to do it. Maybe the fact that you're doing it with your spades 100% means you need something in your checking range, so it takes the heart.
Okay. Fair. I guess that makes sense.
Look at the size. So the suits do this weird jump around thing, but look at the sort of size. The 5, 6 and the 5, 7 and the 6, 7 are kind of the same hand. Right?
Yeah. They all
And
like 75. It's because of the pot size already, right? It's quite
Yeah.
small, so they're happy with 75. Kind of the logic I came to when in position. Being
And so what's
interested if
possible is you want to have this many of them in your checking range. And so that's
Yeah.
where you get them. And the
Yeah,
four,
and when you think about it, this four of spades comes in, gives this big blind. Look at like all of the bets are all wrapped around this region down here, right in the bottom right.
yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
have some bluffs that are,
And he's the only one who has this
yeah,
area. No one
that
else
whole
has
area.
that.
True. Yeah, good point.
But these here, your ignorant end, your ace 3 doesn't require the spades to do it. Your king 3 loves it because the king 3 doesn't even have showdown value. Queen 3 already is great.
I guess the ace 3 likes it because if the straight comes in with a 2, there's not really other many hands that have the 3 because a 7-3 shouldn't be in, right? 7-4 is, oh no, 7-3s are in. But no,
there's just
7-3s are in an
You're
hour.
the only one who has it.
Yeah.
It's only you.
Yeah, so I guess it makes sense that we're potentially slightly aggressive with the 3s because if the straight does come in with the 3 complete in, we're pretty much the only one who have 3s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
And of course, your 7s are great.
Yeah.
Nine, 7 has that magical thing of when the 8 comes in, it gives you the higher straight.
Yeah.
Okay. But he did the check, which with his particular combo is an almost never check,
Yeah.
but that's a suit thing. So like that. And now when you're here with the 3s, this guy with his 3s does not bet. He
No.
doesn't bet his ignorant end. The other guy does. Bets his ace 3, which has no showdown, but it's only with this, it's really with the spades. Okay, so he doesn't bet in that 3 range. So he gets the check. And now when
What was the actual hand for the low jack again?
the river comes in 8. The actual
Threes.
jack hand is low jack was 3-3.
Had threes.
Ah, 3s. Okay, yeah. That was
Yeah.
it.
Right. And the river is the 8 of hearts. There's your 8 of hearts river.
Wonder if the small blind does have any form of stab in here, like this person did.
So this is the real question, right? So the small blind here bet out, and does the big blind have a good enough hand with 7-4 to
Right.
raise?
Yeah.
Right. And everyone
While
but
waiting.
yes.
Go-
I'm
sorry.
the only one who said no.
While we're just waiting for this to compile, one more. No, it's done. Don't worry.
All right. So this guy with his ace jack doesn't bet it, but and ace queen does. Does he have any bluffs up here? King 9. He needs to have worse than ace jack to do it.
Does have some stabbing, to be fair to him. 25% stabs.
Right.
Bets.
And his stabs have a 9 in them. His stabs protect you from the 7-9.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to block the 7. You want to block nuts.
You want to block the 7-9 at least. Just
Makes
don't let-
sense.
Then here's your 7s betting off. And he bet actually 4 chips, right?
Yeah, 4.
So that's what he bet. What does 6C, 4C, 2C, 1C mean?
I've never figured that out.
Are they
I know so too.
are they combos?
Oh, combos. Thank you.
Yeah, it makes sense.
They're combos. All right. So the size he bet, our pot is 7.5, and he bet,
Bet 4, wouldn't it?
Yeah, he bet 4 into 7.5, so we're gonna call that. All right, so let's see the closest thing to a 50% bet we have. We don't have one, so let's look at the two of them. When he bets big,
7-4.
7-4
4.5
is wrong,
reasonable. Yeah.
and he raises it.
Nice.
Yeah, it just says, screw you, I have this.
How much raising? But what sizing roughly?
He goes to 40, he has a 40% raise.
I mean, the one thing to notice is that he's using only the smaller size with the second nuts.
Yeah.
And then he mixes with the uber nuts.
Yeah, he gets a bigger size.
Yep.
And
So
the
what's
40%
40?
size of this
What's 40%?
it is, oh, hit the wrong button. It is. Okay, gotta go, you guys.
All right, talk to you tomorrow. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
Bye.